Ian carved a path hundreds of miles long. FEMA administrator
And then you can make your way over here.
We know we're still in a very active response stage. We're going to go into the stabilization, but we've already started planning for what the recovery is going to be.
Oh, and we're on. That 20-second countdown is a lot shorter. Hannah's here. Look.
I am.
I brought Hannah with
everybody.
me.
Happy Friday.
Big weekend for you, isn't it?
Big weekend.
Anything important happening?
Sorta, kinda. I'm turning 21 on Sunday. I'm already drinking my liquid IV to stay hydrated. It's Friday at 12:01, but I'm trying to prepare.
But you're not doing it to go out and just get hammered. You're doing this because you're going to go work out and stay fit and all of that.
I got a big leg day tomorrow.
Big leg day.
Back and by on Sunday, so got to prepare for that as well. And it's just good to be hydrated. It was my first time trying liquid IV. If any of you have ever heard of that, it's like Gatorade. So it's a good way to hydrate yourself. So I did that. We have a good show today planned for you. Wiggins is on vacation and Annie is at home being a mama to her daughter Jensen, who fractured her foot. So we're thinking about Jensen, and I know Annie wishes that she could be here, but being a mama comes first.
Yeah, and we want to encourage Annie to do that. We want her to feel good about it because, you know, that's her first job, being a mom.
Yes.
Then she talks to you guys. So it's okay. You guys are like third on her list, right?
Yes.
And then, you know, the kids and then you.
Yes. So Ryan Recker is filling in for Annie today. We love having him as a fill-in host. So today will be a really good show for that. Today's YouTube poll.
Well, Annie and I were playing Fortnite last night, and we just thought, hey, let's do something fun. So the question is, who is more awesome? Annie and Ryan or Brad and Hannah? Now, what I want you guys to think about is who is here doing the show with you?
That's part of it. Also, think about how the poll options are divided. Think about that.
Yes.
Me and Brad as one option, and your other option is Annie and Ryan. So make sure you think about that when you select your poll choice. If you've never voted in the poll before, you can visit our YouTube channel, Annie Frey Show on YouTube, and join our live stream if you'd be here anyway. But in the comments section, you can vote in the poll. It's super easy. And at 2:45-ish, I will read the results. So
make sure you tell us why you voted the way you voted, though, because we want to know your reasoning behind it.
Please leave a comment. I read them every day, and I would love to know, especially today, why you think who is more awesome. A lot of people are saying that the poll is, you know, pretty tough, but
yeah, make hard decisions. Be a grown-up.
You just got to be an adult and make it. I will be running the board today, which should be interesting, but I've done it before.
You got this.
So if there's any oopsies, it'll be from me, but
you can blame it on me for poor training or something. There's the oopsie. Brad didn't do well training Hannah. Unbelievable.
So we have about how long?
Oh, we're about a minute and 30 seconds before we go in.
Minute and 30 seconds out.
So we're going to talk about things like this. Hurricane Ian is, of course, at the top of the news, but we're also going to do some fun stuff. Ryan found 5 things of advice from a 4-fingered cowboy. So figure that one out. Rob Kramer's going to come in at 2:25 and do the digital get down. So the 2 o'clock hour is going to have a familiar flavor to it. But we're also going to talk about Biden's quote unquote brain fart of asking for a deceased congresswoman who passed away last week tragically in a car accident at an event that he did just the other day. Also, did you guys know that Adam Wainwright was in a Chick-fil-A parking lot and giving pictures and doing things with Chick-fil-A? We'll have that story for you as well. So there's a lot of stuff on this show that we're going to talk about. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So we're glad you joined us.
And it's Friday, everybody's favorite day of the week. especially for the Annie Frey show, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's either your favorite or your least favorite day on the Annie Frey show. No in between, for sure. Okay, I'm going to go back to the board to make sure everything's running on track. Hope you guys have enjoyed the pre-show, and buckle up because it is a Friday.
It is Friday. We're going to have a lot of fun.
We should still put in the Wiggins intro, right? For the people?
Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure.
See your best. Do what we did. Call Brenton Vision at 314-375-2020 or schedule online right now at brentonvision.com.
Fun in the sun is no fun at all without sunscreen. Just like reapplying sunscreen helps continue protection against the sun, a booster shot can help enhance protection against COVID-19 after a primary series vaccination. Schedule a booster appointment when eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
All right. Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, not Annie Frey, taking another day off to be with family, which is a good thing. And thank you for inviting me back in. We have the Facebook feed up. If you want to look me up online, I have my website, ryanrecker.com. Got links to just about everything there. Watching the storms in Florida, now head over to the Carolinas, is, to me, another one of those examples where you think it's over and it's not. It's like every action movie in the 1980s when the bad guy was defeated and the good guy's like, thank goodness that's over. And then what happens? Bad guy pops up for one last chance at vengeance and then ultimately is defeated again. That's kind of like this hurricane. So Hurricane Ian heads now for the Carolinas, and at least for for Florida's sake, they want to move pretty quick away from this. Ron DeSantis just, I think today,
the ports, Tampa Bay, Miami, Everglades, they are reopened for fueling. And I think between today and tomorrow, all the ports in the state of Florida, up and down both coasts, will be operational.
I look at all the devastation there, certain areas that were completely wiped out or 90% wiped out. Pictures from the Associated Press of these boats that are way inland. Videos are continuing to surface of just the water rising at unbelievably quick rates, 15 feet surges or whatever. And you look at all of this devastation and wow, you're really taken back. And then you have to remember all the lives that were lost and the missing people that are still there, people posting photographs online, and just how devastating this is for so many different families. And it's just another one of those reminders. If you get the call that says you got to get out of here, you got to get out of here. And I know there's going to be instances where people just physically cannot leave. And what happens after that, in at least Florida's case, they say, we're not coming for you. It's too dangerous to send our people to rescue you. You're on your own. That's scary. Now, Florida is certainly not on their own. Emergency declarations and a lot of people down there to help clean up, but it's going to take a lot of time. I hate to think that they have some experience with this, so they may know what to do and how to do it quickly, but still, it scares me to think that all the momentum of the good things happening in Florida, if you look at the way it's kind of bucked the trends of like the national news, like, oh my goodness, we're going to forget about what the rest of the country in California is doing. We're going to do it our own way, and how successful that's been for not only businesses, but for the people living there. They've attracted so many people to it. When I see stories like this, I think, well, maybe I don't want to go to Florida right now. Do you guys feel like this is going to, at least in some people's mind, this once in a 500-year storm, this hurricane that went through, going to be the last straw for people considering to move to Florida? They look at this and say, I want no part of it. I mean, it's kind of deterring me. I mean, when I look at it,
I kind of look at it and I wonder maybe if we have, if this is the once in the 500-year storm, that means that we probably won't have another one for another 500 years, which means that now the coast is clear. It's time to head down. I don't know that.
Also, get it out of the way
yeah.
before you get there.
But I think really if you look at it, I think it's going to be Florida's response to this storm. How does it handle the cleanup, the recovery and whatnot?
And I imagine the cleanup will be good.
I
have a positive outlook on this. For me, I think I would still move to Florida in a heartbeat. I think the positives, overweigh the negatives of the Hurricane Ian. And it's, a terrible storm and it's, affecting so many in a bad way. But
it's terrible.
Florida is just...
It's amazing.
It's Ron DeSantis.
That's all it is.
Me.
It's got Mickey Mouse ears.
It's got Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah. And this is the show I think you single-handedly fund Disney for a day. The amount of times the members of this show, the Annie Frey Show, visit Disneyland alone, the contributions to the economy there, they would not want you to go away. Because doesn't Annie go about 150 times a year, something like that?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah, a lot. You know what, though? I've not been to Disneyland since I was like 5.
Me either.
Or Disneyland, right?
Disney
whatever it is.
World.
The Florida one.
Disney
Orlando.
Disney
I've
World.
never been to Disneyland, but I've not been to Disney World since I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah. I keep getting reminders. I went there last year, and I used the same travel agent person that I think Annie and Ryan use, someone that used to work for the radio station, so they recommended her. And I got an email that said, hey, remember where you were a year ago? You were in Disney. So we're getting these little updates, and my wife's like, oh, why are they reminding us? I wish we were there right now.
That kind of hurts.
Good marketing.
It does hurt. A year ago, you were at Animal Kingdom or whatever park we were at that time. And, it's sad to look at all of this, but I guess it's not going to be a deterrent. The hurricane's now heading towards Carolina and all these other areas. I thought the hurricane was dying down. So it went for basically the entire day. It started to slow down when nightfall hit, but it was still a pretty heavy storm, but a tropical storm. Wake up the next morning, still a tropical storm. But the way that thing was progressing, picking up steam afterwards, I think that surprised at least me. It's not like we haven't covered hurricanes. It's not like we haven't seen this before, but I thought it was over. And now it's like, boy, this thing's cropping its head right back up. So anyone in Carolina is still working on this. One of the big steps you find is that power getting restored is such a huge thing. I have some friends down in a little bit south of Orlando, and they said their fence was wiped out, but luckily their house was okay. And they just got the power turned back on today. And I was thinking to myself, wow, we were just, 48 hours, less than 48 hours from the storm, and you got your power restored. That's, I think, tremendous when you're talking about millions and millions of people without power in the state of Florida. They were prepared and ready to go for that. And I tell you, that's the difference for a lot of people. If you don't have power for a week versus 2 days, that's like a night and day difference. It almost feels like you should be grateful that you were able to get it restored that quick, even though 2 days seems like a lot.
I mean, if you stop and think about it, whenever the power's out, like the economy almost stops. You have to use cash because you can't use credit card machines and all that other stuff. So like you go back to this old style economy where it's like, if I need to get something, if I need to get gas for my car, if the power's out everywhere, well, one, the pumps aren't going to work. So you're not going to be able to get anything out. The credit card machines don't work. So you can't buy food. Your freezers and your refrigerators aren't working. So your food can spoil. So I think 48 hours afterwards is just phenomenal to get that back on after a storm.
All right.
Like
So
that.
Brad, so let's say ATM's not working. You don't have any cash. What are you bartering for goods? Like, what do you have at your house? Do you have like I got a bunch of gold I'll use or something? Do you have something that you could just pull out of storage and say, well, I can barter this for some
listen
food
here, Ryan.
today?
I wouldn't ever say that I have a bunch of gold at my house on the air.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Wait, didn't you say you bury it in your backyard?
Yeah, I did not say that either.
And is that why you have all those dirty shovels? You're always burying gold.
Yeah, it's gold and it's not anything else.
All right. By the way, you guys put a new YouTube poll up, and you were discussing it a little bit with the pre-show video. And the YouTube poll has to do with a couple of people that are not on the show today. What's the poll?
Who is more awesome?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Annie and Ryan or Hannah and myself?
Okay, so you put that up the day they're gone so they can't defend themselves or pitch for themselves.
But
so
the people
you have
know.
a huge advantage. Okay, so what's your pitch? Why are you guys more awesome than Annie and Ryan?
I said, well, first of all, we got to think about the division of the options here. Brad and myself is one option, and your second option is Annie
Right.
and Ryan as a package.
The way you said that, and Ryan.
So
And Wiggins.
think about that. Yeah, Ryan Wiggins, not Wrecker. Let me clarify that.
Well, I'm not going to get any votes changed here, so I think everyone knew very clearly it's Ryan Wiggins.
Brad and I are the producers of this show. We're pretty awesome. We put this whole thing together every day. We wouldn't be on air if it wasn't for Brad and
This
I.
is true.
That's pretty important to know. And
So
I'd
far,
say
this
we're
is the
pretty
pitch.
cool.
Yeah, here's your pitch. One, come on, guys, it's Ryan Wiggins. All right, come on.
I mean,
Right?
basically, that's it. That's the selling
let's
point.
be real.
Yep.
You know Wiggins. Let's be real. And then your other plea is we're kind of underappreciated. Like we do all the work here and don't get any of the credit for it. So that's why you should vote. So the sympathy vote is what you're going.
Well, I just want people to understand that we're the ones that bring access to Annie and Ryan. So if we don't show up for work, if we don't run the board, if we don't help pull sound, if we don't get all the stuff together and all the stuff that makes the show happen, then Annie's going to sit here and talk to nobody because nothing will be on and she won't be on air. She'll just be talking to herself. Same with Ryan. So all the goofy, funny stuff that you guys love that Ryan does, nobody'd know that it was happening.
He wouldn't even have a mic.
So here's another plan. This is what I would do. Just cut them off one day and then put them up for ransom. Like you say, hey, you got to vote for us for being awesome. Until that happens, we're not bringing the show back. And then it's over. They're going to have to vote for you, be on your side. Ransom.
I am looking at the votes now, but I will share, and I know they'll change. Don't worry, but I will share the final results of the YouTube poll at 2:45 today.
Yeah, I was trying to follow some of the comments, and
Yeah, I star them, so I'll
like,
read them later.
How can we pick our favorite child? And I'll tell you what, as a parent, it's hard to pick a favorite child, but you might have one. I mean, a lot of parents have favorite childs, don't they? I'm not saying that's out of the ordinary, but it happens.
I think it's important for parents to announce that they have a favorite child, but then not tell the child which child is the favorite is.
Yep, exactly. So your parents probably have a favorite child. I don't think I'm my parents' favorite child, honestly. They might give the impression I am, but I don't think I am their favorite child. I once pressured them to ask, like, come on, really, tell me, who's your favorite child? And under duress, I think they said my name, but then I knew in my heart.
How
that
many
they were just
siblings
saying
do you
that.
have?
I just have one sister, so it's between the two
Are
of us.
you the oldest or youngest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest, so I should be a
she's the favorite.
shoo-in.
Okay.
She's the favorite.
Just
I should be a shoo-in. No,
just for science, that's
Like
kind of telling.
as the oldest of my family and the three, the baby girl is always the favorite.
What?
I
Absolutely.
am the baby girl.
Hannah speaks from experience.
So it's not something I said or did. It's just basically I'm out of luck.
Yep.
All right. So
Just
you
the
have
way you were born.
siblings. Your parents probably have a favorite, and they may be listening right now and thinking to themselves, "Well, I never told them who the favorite was, but they probably know it's not them." Because I'll tell you why. We got into radio, and automatically our parents think, "Oh boy, of all the things you could have done with your life to make me proud, you are on radio. Ugh. Okay, you could have been a doctor, could have been a lawyer. You were a smart kid. What happened to you?" That's the disappointment of a kid that gets into radio that a parent has for them.
My mother has told me I have the face for radio, so that's perfect.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So now you know. That was her way of discouraging you.
Yes.
Get out of here.
She was
And you could
totally
have taken
kidding, by
any
the way,
career path.
Mom. She's going to be like,
Why'd you say that about me?
Yeah. And Brad, you had a different career path before you joined the radio stations here. You could have stayed on there, made your parents
he
proud.
had many. He had
so
many
many career
different career paths.
Wait, how many jobs have you had?
Okay. Starting from the beginning, I've worked at fast food restaurants. I've done security, private investigations, substitute teaching, full-time teaching, lawn care. I've owned a lawn care business. I've driven a truck. I've driven a school bus. I've worked retail. I've worked at gas stations.
Rodeo clown?
Never did rodeo clown.
That's about it.
And youth minister.
Whoa, that's like 10 different things.
It's a lot.
What's the one that lasted the least amount of time?
The least amount of time is probably the gas station attendant. That stuff was not fun.
So were you like Steve Martin? You're running out and like filling up people's gas in the jug?
No. I worked at a Casey's, so I made pizza, but we had to wear white shirts. So
that's
it's
why
kinda
you
like
quit?
Steve Martin. No, I quit because it's a long story, but the boss was kind of weird and crazy.
And I was like, okay, this is not going to end well if I stay here.
And yeah, you thought radio would be better, and here you are. But this may be one of the longest lasting jobs you've had. So congratulations.
I hope so.
Hope so. Okay, so the poll is up. Just go to YouTube and vote on who is more awesome between the two tandem teams. You have to pick one. Just do it. Pick one. And the results will come out later in the show. After the break, KMOV did a story on the south side of St. Louis about some squatters, and I'm listening to the stories of these squatters and thinking to myself, wow, we have a city that literally does nothing about anything. Like, their answer to everything in the city of St. Louis is, oh, we can't do anything about it. Oh, we can't do anything about it. How many times have you heard that from the administration? Any administration in St. Louis? Oh, we can't do anything about it. What a terrible answer when you have these problems that are just plaguing the city. So we're going to cover that coming up in a moment. I'm Ryan Reicher, filling in on the Annie Frey Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
When I believed in forever, everything would stay the same. Now my heart feels like December when somebody say your name.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Disaster Relief, which helps people affected by disasters such as Hurricane Ian. Message and data rates may apply, or go to 971talk.com for additional ways you can help.
Mark Cox here with a real estate update and insight from my friend and trusted realtor Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria says, look, sitting on the sidelines may not be the best strategy moving forward in a continually shifting market. Homes aren't selling as fast, and in most cases, price reductions are becoming pretty common. Gloria also says that earlier this year, with low inventory, sellers didn't need a strategy to sell because homes were listed and sold immediately. Now more than ever, though, it is crucial to have a proven strategy to get your home sold. That's why I strongly suggest you call Gloria Liu before you list your home to get the absolute most money. Get this, Gloria is so confident she'll sell your home, she will guarantee in writing up front to sell it at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it. Call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Why are some people afraid to enjoy their retirement? And why are some people so worried about spending money during their golden years? Maybe it's because they're afraid of running out of money. Maybe they're afraid of depleting their nest egg, either through spending too much or through investment strategies that could result in losses. Hi, my name is Ken Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. Do you have a fear of depleting your savings and running out of money too soon? Let me help put your mind at ease. I can help you create an optimal retirement income distribution strategy that helps to maximize income from your retirement savings and eliminate your fear of running out of money. Call 314-328-6000 today and schedule your complimentary retirement roadmap review with our team. That's 314-328-6000. Again, that's 314-328-6000.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
All right, welcome back. I wanted to cover this one story from KMOV. They posted it from Melanie Johnson, the reporter, about a homeless camp that was set up in the middle of South St. Louis City. And the video on this is really interesting because it's taken a lot from the neighbor side of things. And sometimes you get these neighborhoods. I don't understand the appeal of it. And some, St. Louis included, but a lot of these large metropolitan cities, people like, oh, I got to live in the city. Oh, it feels so good to live in the city. And then they live in the city and their backyard is about the size of a baby pool. And if you were to go between the property lines and reach your hands out, you can touch the shingles on each side. And that's like not appealing to a lot of people, but some people love the idea that they can walk a couple of blocks to a farmer's market, that they'll give up the space or whatever the yard is, and they love to pay more taxes for it. And that's not my appeal. I think there's a lot of people that want to get out of that system, but still, so they're looking out their back window and there's an alleyway behind their property lot. And what they see on the other side of the alleyway is, for the most part, a dilapidated building. And in that building, a bunch of homeless people hanging out side and also inside. And the cameras from KMOV were looking outside the window, and they were just doing their thing. They're like barbecue grilling. The homeless are. He's saying they're talking about drug use, and they're like going in and out of a busted out window door combination. And it shows KMOV is like, we even saw them making improvements to the house, and it shows them like leaning plywood up against a gaping hole in the house, and they're saying they're doing improvements to the house. I don't know if that was their way of describing what they were witnessing, but it sounded like they were actually doing some sort of construction work. So here's KMOV with the squatter situation.
First it was 2, 3. Okay, that's cool. But then you see 20, 25, 30. It becomes different.
All right, so the neighbor's like, first it was 2 or 3, then it was 25 or 30. I even think 2 or 3 is a little troubling for me, because when we talk about fighting homelessness, it's something that some people will, actively try to get themselves out of that situation. Others are content with living on the street. Others don't want help. Others try to stay away from it. Others got dependency issues, addiction issues. There's a wide range of reasons why people are homeless, and there's some people are homeless just because the wrong situation hits, Joe Biden's economy and the way inflation hits, or maybe there's an unexpected medical bill, and next thing you know, they lose their home and have no place to go. It's a real sad situation. I get that. But when you're looking out your back window and you see a group of 2 or 3 people and they're doing drugs, and they don't live there, and that they're squatting on this piece of property, do you want that next to your family with your kids living in the same?
Not. No, especially 30
not.
Of them?
Well,
30?
he's saying 25, 30. Yeah, he's guessing. I'm sure he doesn't know them by name.
Here's that is, wow.
Here's the other thing about that too. And if they're talking about doing drugs, if they have drug issues, one of the things is that a lot of times when people get really heavily into drugs, what they're looking for is the next high. And they will do anything to get that next high. And so they're going to start looking for stuff that they can use to get their next high. So they will, I think you're putting yourself at risk, or you need them gone because you're at risk, because they might break into your home to steal stuff so that they could get money, so they could buy their drugs, so they can get their next high.
Desperation, they're not in the right mindset. Well, if you're using that shared alley, let's say you have your garage in the back and you have to park through the alleyway, imagine what you might be driving over. So if there's drug dependency issues, you might have syringes, human waste, and that's the type of stuff you're tracking into your property or your garage. Maybe you're running over syringes, and then what's in it is exposed after it's crushed. You don't want that. I mean, no one wants that sort of garbage, specifically that type of garbage hanging around in an alleyway. And St. Louis already has its issues with garbage collection. How many different neighborhoods have said they just stopped collecting altogether and the trash bags are piling up? There's a lot of issues in St. Louis.
We drove down Virginia Avenue near Shermer, where they're even seen making additions to the house. This woman was seen building a door out of plywood.
Okay, so there's the addition side of it. They're basically leaning wood up against a hole and they're calling it a door. That might be a little stretch. It shows them they're like, oh, I guess this could go here. And they're really marveling at the idea that this plywood was leaned up against a hole in the wall. So they go down this, the KMOV reporters, and as they drive by, they're like filming these people through the open window. And they're just looking at this, I'm sure, news van drive by like, what's going on here? And it's one of those weird memes that you've seen online. Did you see the meme where it's like the two cars that are crossing over each other from that one Netflix show? I forgot what it was called, but essentially they're looking at each other and they're like, wait, what are you doing here? No, what are you doing here? That's essentially what happened with the homeless in KMOV as they continue on with the story.
Makes me feel like this part of our city has been neglected. They're not watching out for us.
Alan Wilson lives a few doors down and places the blame on city officials.
They've said their hands are tied, but you have to do something to these people. Winter's coming. Come on, get them out of these places. This isn't safe for them or us.
It's not on everybody.
Let's be honest here about winter coming. Few things with that. We know that when there is desperation in these abandoned buildings, we had a huge tragedy hit the city of St. Louis just last year. You have homeless huddled inside of an abandoned building. They start fires in those buildings. The home catches on fire. Fire department shows up. They have to search to see if there's any souls in that house. Fireman loses his life. We saw this exact thing happen last year. So now you're living next door to one of those buildings that could be susceptible to homeless busting in and starting fires to stay warm during what's going to be a cold winter. That's the type of threat we're talking about to the other neighbors. And what frustrates me the most is the boilerplate response the city of St. Louis and Mayor Tashara Jones's office will give in situations like this. Oh, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. Oh, boy, what can we do?
Her hands are always tied.
It's always the same answer. It's so lazy, and nothing ever gets done. So what do we have to look at the bright side? Wow, she wasn't indicted. That's like the nice thing you can say about her administration right now. Oh, at least that she's, not as corrupt as Steve Stenger or Sam Page. Oh, at least she's not as bad as them. That's like the best thing you can say about her. But she literally does nothing. Like, you look around and it's this, oh, our hands are tied. We can't do anything. Okay, whatever. So what are you going to do? You're just going to wait for this house to burn down because there's 30 people huddled inside this home and they need to stay warm somehow during the winter? The guy that lives there and the families that live there are 100% right. And how would you like to look at your property and say, well, I guess I can't let my kids play outside anymore because what are they going to do? Do I want them going up to the back of the property and talking to the homeless while they're shooting up or smoking or whatever, what they're doing out there? No, thanks. That's a hard pass. That completely limits your ability to enjoy your own property. And I've seen enough lawsuits. Like, here, I'll give the city some consulting, free consulting. I've read enough of these lawsuits to understand that if your property is next to adjacent to other properties and they make it impossible for you to enjoy and use your own property, then that could result in you suing them to have them stop those practices. So City of St. Louis, you can step in here. It's making everyone else miserable. Hey, people that live there too, how about you put the situation a little bit further and you sue the city to stop this? Maybe that's what needs to be done. Let me go a little bit further with KMOV here.
Not on everybody that are homeowners anymore. It has to be on the city at this point because all of this money that they claim that they have, where is it?
The Baskin family presented these emails showing the city has known about this encampment for months.
We started this fight in February.
They've been trying to get this ended. So what we're doing is we're about to hit October 1st. We're hitting Halloween here. Yeah. How would you like to go trick-or-treating in that property? Like, this is what happens. All the neighbors in that neighborhood, no, we're not going to that house. Like, everyone's got to know that this is a nuisance property, everyone that lives there, and nothing can be done according to the city. Do you believe that? And then how many times do you have to reach out to them and hear the same answer before you finally do something on your own?
Well, and then the other side of that is, too, it's like, okay, well, why don't you move? Well, who's going to buy that property? You know, squatters next to your property drives your property value down. Like Ryan, if you move in and you're like, okay, I might buy this house. I might be looking for this. And like, who's that? Are those the neighbors? Nope. Those are just homeless people that live over there. You're like, oh, okay. Thank you. Bye. And you're leaving.
They're just visiting. Like, how would the realtor explain that? Like, to try to spin it? Because the realtor is very good at trying to spin certain aspects of the home. No, they just have a lot of visitors.
But isn't that like
very friendly neighborhood?
Isn't this sort of one of the main roles of government? I mean, this is why we have government, to help people maintain safety and property rights and stuff like that. And they're just not. I mean, just not doing it. Just not. We've decided we're not going to do this, and there's nothing that we can do about this. And there absolutely is, but they just choose not to.
Yep. So the city says they're aware of it, but what can you do? You know how it is. Things are just, our hands are tied. If I had $1 for every time I said that, I'd probably claim, or every time the city have said that, I'd probably be able to claim that RAM settlement money by now. They'd just have to pay it all to me if I had $1 for every time they've gave that excuse. A little bit more from this.
I'll probably be October. How much more patience do I have to have?
News 4 brought their concerns to the mayor's office.
They're not doing anything. They don't show up.
A spokesperson told News 4 in a statement, the city is aware, and since this is on private property, public safety departments have been involved.
They're allowing what can be a good neighborhood to go downhill.
Several no trespassing signs in plain sight on 2 properties now infiltrated by squatters.
Oh, now they've expanded into 2. Wow. I mean, the business must be good when they realize they're not going to be punished or any repercussion for just squatting on a piece of property. This is sad. This is really sad. And think about all the times the government has harassed people and given them a hard time when they were just trying to do the right thing. Another great example, and this has to do with the homeless as well. You have Larry Rice, who ran a homeless shelter for decades with no issue whatsoever. He did it on his own money, accepting no government money. And then the city harasses him and essentially closes him down and makes it impossible to reopen it up because they start developing more expensive properties around it. And they just don't like the idea of a homeless shelter being there because, bad for business. Okay, but give him the opportunity to still help the people. One of his colleagues would go onto the street to still help the homeless, would hand out sandwiches to them. He was ticketed for giving out food to the homeless because he didn't have a food permit. This is the type of harassment the city gives people trying to do the right thing. They get in the way. And then what happens? Squatters take over 2 properties on your neighborhood. And then what? Oh, we can't do nothing about it. It's so frustrating. It drives me insane. And that's the follow-up at the end of the KMOV story essentially says the same thing. They said, our hands are tied. Nothing you can do about it. I'm just going to say a quick, no, there's things you can do about it. You're deciding not to make this a priority because you don't care about the people that live there. Just like all the other people that have issues with trash collection in the city of St. Louis, you don't make it a priority because you don't care about the people that live there enough to take care of it. You can put every excuse you want on the book. It's not a satisfactory answer for the people that are suffering there. You got people getting shot. You got people getting stolen from. You get your cars jacked. You get the windows busted. You get stabbed. You name the litany of things that happen in the city of St. Louis. And it's not getting any better. It's just not. And that's the reality of the city that is turned into, a St. Louis that's much different than I think a lot of people remember from decades ago, which is a shame. It really is. When we come back, a couple of quick things I want to talk about. Adam Wainwright was raising some money for charity at a Chick-fil-A. This is actually pretty cool. And how do you find the best Chinese food where you live? It could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be St. Louis. There's a tip from a YouTuber that I want to bring up after the break, too. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on the Annie Frey Show. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Jim Carafano.
You know me, I do radio all over the country. I have never heard a radio show. That just makes me even more prouder every week to be able to talk with you because I am such a fan of what you do.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
You've worked very hard to build what you've got, so you definitely don't want to waste money, but the older you get, the more you realize, actually, I almost don't want to waste time more than anything. So let's talk about a luxury dealership that's going to save you both. Genesis of St. St. Charles. This is the best kept secret in St. Charles area. They have the most available inventory of Genesis vehicles. But when I talk about time and money, what I'm saying is they're not going to charge you over MSRP, which isn't happening a lot right now, which saves you time because you can go in, you know exactly what you're going to pay. You can see the models. You can just pick. That's what's great about it. You don't have to do the whole song and dance going back and forth with, let me go talk to my boss and let me see. But you're also going to save money because so many people are charging over MSRP. And you're going to find out that Genesis cars are actually within your budget more than you even think. So go to Genesis of St. Charles to get that kind of treatment. Don't waste your time and don't waste your money. Go to Genesis of St. Charles. They're part of the St. Charles Automotive Campus, just a quarter mile east of Mid Rivers Mall, online at genesisofstcharles.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your HVAC system ready for fall with a heating system check included with all maintenance plans starting at $15 a month. For details and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Decision 2022.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Go vote in the YouTube poll. That would be cool, too. Who's more awesome? Hannah and Brad or Ryan Wiggins and Annie Frey? Whoa, what a interesting team matchups. This is like NBA Jam. How can you pick? It's like between the Knicks and the Bulls. Like you got to pick one somewhere in there.
But you got to pick, people. You got to vote.
Yeah, just pick one or the other. That's fine. You're not going to upset anyone. But if you had to pick one, consider who's on air today, who gave you the opportunity to hear their pitch. So they may have tipped the scales. Who knows?
And the thing about it is, too, we want these to be tough decisions. We don't want them to be easy decisions. We want you guys to, really dig down and think about who you think is more awesome.
And leave a comment as to why you voted the way you did, and I will read them at 2:45.
Yep. Yesterday I gave you a would you rather. Why didn't that make the poll? The would you rather have a spider in your mouth or in your ear?
Because this is the Annie Frey Show, and we don't do spider polls on the Annie Frey Show. That's just how that works. Even when she's not here, we will not be doing those polls.
It's just too disturbing. This is why you always kill the spider in the house. Do not allow that thing to hang out, because then one day you're going to wake up and wonder, did that thing crawl in my mouth and I just slept through it? Do not put yourself in that situation. Talking about spiders into your ear, let's hear Senator Joe Manchin was asked the question about these upcoming midterms and how important they're going to be. Mitch McConnell says there's a pretty good chance that the Republicans could take the majority there. I mean, there is a pretty good chance, I think. I think here in the state of Missouri, we'll be able to keep that seat. You have Roy Blunt that decided to retire. I really think, based on the latest polls, Eric Schmidt is double digits up, so he's looking really good. And most likely will become the next senator here in the state of Missouri during these midterms. I don't think there's a big question about that. Senator Joe Manchin was asked about it.
Can I get your reflections on this Congress? You've been at the center of so many things. You've gotten a lot of bipartisan things done.
I'm praying to go it's not a 50-50 again.
I'm sorry?
I'm just praying it's not a 50-50. I like for Democrats to be 51-49, but whatever happens, I kind of hope it's not a 50-50.
So you don't have to be at the center of everything again.
All right, so he doesn't. You don't have to be the center. that reporter's pretty smart for bringing that up. You don't have to be at the center of it. But just imagine it's the end of the night. You're saying your nightly prayers. Like, we pray with our kids and we talk about all the things that happen in the day and we're thankful for. And the last thing I always end my prayer with is, please let there be no split in the Senate after the midterms. Of course, that doesn't come up. Even if you're Joe Manchin, you're not praying for that, I hope. It's more of an expression, I'm sure. Let's look at one thing. Talking about praying, Adam Wainwright is someone that has done a lot for great charities here in the city of St. Louis, and he's done things for Christian charities too. Adam Wainwright was putting on a charitable fundraiser with a radio station in town, a sports station, and it was teaming up with Chick-fil-A in the restaurant in De Pere on Manchester, and they were showing photos of him like talking to the people as they were like taking their orders. The car windows were down, like, oh, it's Adam Wainwright. Get to say hi to him. And I wanted to just point out real quick, at Chick-fil-A, you can have a celebrity like Adam Wainwright that's loved in St. Louis. You could talk to him. You can take a picture with him. You can tell him your favorite story about him. You can just give him a high five. You can do whatever you want, and they'll still get you through that line faster than any other fast food place in the world, anywhere in the world. Isn't that? If anywhere, I was going to have a little bit of like, okay, like if I'm any other fast food window, I'm thinking, let's hurry this up. Listen, the chit chat, I don't need this. It's taken long enough to get through this line. Chick-fil-A, it's like, oh no, I got time. I know you're fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Oh, that's cool. What's going on? How's the family? How's your mom doing? Yeah. You just want to know about everything there. So apparently they raised about 10 grand for the big league impact. Good for them. I know they got that big playoff run coming up. Chick-fil-A is the best. Can we just say that? Like, can we all agree? If you did a poll, who's the best? And every answer was Chick-fil-A and other, 0% would vote for other, I think.
Man, I've always said that, like, and I don't know who's in charge of how Chick-fil-A does what they do, but if I ever was in a public office and I needed to distribute something quickly and efficiently and in the most pleasant way possible, I would put whoever invented or whoever is in charge of that at Chick-fil-A in charge of that for my administration. Like, if I were governor, I would want that Chick-fil-A to run the DMVs. So people could come in, get their license, and get out, and it would be like, they hand you a license, my pleasure, and you're gone. It's not the angry.
I went to the DMV this morning, and it wasn't as bad as it's been in the past. I still didn't leave with what I wanted to, but
of course,
at least the person was nice.
We're going to talk about you and your car purchase, I think, next hour. But just on a side note with the DMV, in Missouri, does anyone ever have their paperwork aligned when they go there? Because I don't think any one person has ever gone to the counter and the person behind the counter has accepted everything that was presented to them and not requested more documentation.
I feel like it changes every single time I go. That's the problem with the DMV with me, is I feel like the first time I go, they're like, okay, you need, a piece of mail with your address on it. I'm like, okay. Well, then I go back up there and they're like, actually, you need your birth certificate. Actually, you need your social security card. Actually, you need this. I'm like, why didn't you just tell me this the first time? I feel like every time I go, it's different.
Blood sample.
Yeah.
DNA was the 23andMe. They need to make sure you're part of the right lineage before you get in there too. I mean, they request just about everything there. And they basically do a paternity test while you're at it too. Let's make sure that your parents are your parents. Like, they want to know everything about you before they give you that.
I went and I was trying to get my new vertical ID, but they said that they can't actually give me my vertical ID until I am 21, which I was like, oh, I thought this was expiring, so I was trying to, be ahead of the game.
Kind of makes sense, though, if you stop and think about it.
For what?
To not give you the ID that says you're 21 until you're 21?
Right.
Well, it says my birthday on it, so I don't know. I just thought, but anyway, I waited in line, and then
I don't think I have a vertical one. What's the vertical ID? I don't know about this.
So your ID is vertical whenever you're under 21. And then you get the horizontal ID.
Oh,
after you
okay.
turn
My
21.
bad.
Okay, so it's
horizontal.
opposite.
Yes.
It's supposed to be easy to identify somebody that's underage.
You're part of a special club at that point. You get the right side. But basically, it's only that horizontal for a couple of years, essentially 15 and a half or 16 or whatever, 16, I guess, until 21, and then you get switch it over. Or you just hold on to it forever. It's basically... You do, right? Do they still make you forfeit your ID when you go to the DMV and you're getting a new one? Like, do they make you give the old one up?
Yeah, they void it and then they give it back to you.
Oh, so they like punch a hole in it or something? I gotcha. Yeah, my DMV experiences have been pretty good. I was so stressed to take another test when I moved here because I thought, I'm going to have to do a test. And like when I moved last, it was to Indiana, and they make you retake the test, and they put you on a computer that is about as old as the computers at the radio station, if not older. And none of them work the way they should. And then you sit down and you do the thing, and you're like, wow, the margin of error is so slim that if I miss these things, I'm not going to get a driver's license switched over, and I'm going to be in trouble because then I'm going to be driving without a license. So I moved here to Missouri, and they're like, okay, you have to take another test. I'm like, stressing out, please. I don't want to have to do this. This was the test in Missouri. You put your head into what looks like a Fisher-Price virtual reality goggle.
Yes.
And then the pressure of your forehead triggers a switch, and it shows you a line of like 4 things. And you just like have to tell them what those things are.
Sign.
Yeah. Stop sign, merge sign, and you're done. You're like, oh, that's the test. That's awesome.
Wow.
Which also explains why people drive so terribly in
I was
Missouri.
going to say, that explains so much. So incredibly
Brad,
much.
what do you have to do in Illinois?
So we have to take written tests. So there's a row of computers, and you get your little thing, and you go in the back, and they're like, all right, go to computer number 4, and then you go in there, and it's multiple choice. And you go until you get a passing grade or you failed. So you just go, like, once you failed, it's over. So if you get done really quickly, you didn't do a good job. You did really bad. So you're only allowed to miss like 4 questions. Last time I had to get my license updated, I didn't know it, but I walked up and they're like, oh yeah, you got pulled for a random, test. So you have to go do the written test. And they're like, do you want to keep your CDL? Because I have a commercial driver's license because I used to drive a school bus and a truck.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, I'd like to keep that. And they're like, all right, so you'll have to do that test too. So I went in there blind. No idea that I had to take a test. And I had to take CDL test and passenger endorsement and my rules of the road test. And I passed 2 of the 3 of the first time around, and then you can take a break and then go back and take it again. And then I passed the passenger endorsement the 3rd time. And I was just like, holy cow, I was not expecting this. So yeah, we have to do written tests
in Illinois. It would have been a lot easier, Hannah, if you just did what everyone else in St. Louis would do and just don't get a updated plate. Just leave it expired forever.
No, it wasn't my plates. It was my driver's license.
Oh, if you don't get pulled over anyway, so then don't worry about it. But how many people with the expired plates also have out-of-date license? I think probably most of them, right?
Yes.
I would imagine there's a correlation there.
I still feel like people are blaming COVID for their expired plates. I'm like,
oh, you think so?
Yeah, yes.
Still a COVID
If
thing.
I'm seeing temp tags from 2020, come on.
Oh, it gets worse. I mean, you could probably go back to the 2000. I think I saw one today posted online from 2005.
No,
that's unbelievable. How do they make them last that long?
I don't know. Maybe they park it in a garage.
I mean, the amount of effort.
Just don't drive it.
Yeah,
old lady.
The amount of effort you'd have to put in to have that thing last that long is just just get a new license.
I heard that after you got your new license, you celebrated by going to a Chinese restaurant. Is that true, Hannah?
Maybe.
No? Okay. So there's a viral video online by a YouTuber by the name of Frey Wong. He creates, what was that YouTube series? It was really popular about 10 years ago. He's like Rocket something, not Rocket League, Rocket whatever, but it was super popular. And he's like a visual artist and someone that does a lot of work. I think, it's more than just your guy with a camera. He does like some pretty sophisticated special effects and things. And it's more like you would expect from a streaming television service than it would be from YouTube, like really high-end things. And he gave a tip and said, this is how you find the best Chinese restaurant where you live. Very simple. You go online to Yelp. Anyone that has a rating over 4.5 is probably fake. They're probably paying people for ratings. Anyone under a 3, I don't know. It's probably not that good. He said, you find a restaurant that has a rating of 3.5 stars, exactly 3.5 stars. That is legit Chinese restaurant sweet spot. That's where you want to go, and they'll have the best Chinese food you'll ever have.
That
3.5 stars
is not what I was expecting. Wow.
I didn't know you could pay for Yelp reviews.
Me either.
Oh, you can pay for anything. Like you can go online and they can harvest ratings for your podcast. They can harvest ratings for your Facebook page, your YouTube page, anything. They'll harvest that. And it doesn't mean you're going to get any engagement from it. It's just artificially giving you some numbers. And essentially what happens is all these different tech companies have become wise that this happens. So if they catch wind or any whiff of this happening, they'll pretty much flag your account as fraudulent, and they may suspend you for it. So you don't want to do this. Don't think it's a one of those shortcuts to gaining a large audience. But no, if you go online to Yelp and find 3.5 stars, that is the one you want to go to. Would you use that hack?
I just looked up my favorite Chinese restaurant, and I'm not kidding. It exactly has 3.5 stars.
3.5 stars.
3.5 stars. Okay, so Freddie Wong is, so far you're looking at that and saying this is 100% true.
Yes, everybody's whipping out their phones right now and doing a quick Google search.
I don't have a favorite Chinese restaurant.
You don't?
No, I generally don't do Chinese food. I do sushi instead.
I'm not huge on Chinese food, but every now and then it hits the spot.
It does have its place.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I can do that. The portions are always the way you want it. Any other place you go to, they've cut back on portions.
Oh, yeah.
Or they've raised their prices. Except Waffle House, for some reason, they've kept their prices low and the portions high. I mean, but you know exactly what you're getting in there. Something that's going to be slathered in butter, which is delicious. And then the guy next to you is probably passed out on the Formica table, and the one down from there is thinking about fighting one of the cooks. So that's kind of what you have to deal with. But the food is really, really, really good, and the portions are great, so you have to consider that too. If you want to eat a meal and not get into a fight, I would recommend Denny's. That's probably the better place to go. But the Chinese restaurant deal, 3.5 stars, anyone that is thinking about going out to eat tonight, look up the review online. If it's at 3.5, know that you're picking the right spot. If it's lower than that, look around. If it's higher than that, be skeptical because it might not be the best, but it might be good. They may have paid for that. All right, coming up in the next segment, we're going to take a break, and I wanted to mention something that President Joe Biden said about Jackie Walorski. Now, keep in mind, I mentioned that I lived in Indiana. She was a congresswoman from Indiana. She passed away in a tragic car accident, and Joe Biden had this moment where I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me with this. Just how terrible is it? And Ed Sheeran in court. I want to play part of that copyright suit against him. Maybe you'll hear the similarities on the Annie Frey Show coming up, 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
This is the fight. This is our future. This is not a political game.
This is not an emergency.
This is constitutional. This is a witch hunt.
This is far from over.
This is hell.
This is
an historic decision.
This is because of the 2020 election.
This is the new climate democracy.
This is the lie.
This is
getting downright so.
Where St. Louis comes to talk.
This is where we live.
This is our city.
97.1 FM Talk.
This is our life.
Come to the enchanted attic. Come to the enchanted attic. Come to the enchanted attic, and the mysteries of life shall be revealed. Gaze into a crystal ball to see your future. Breathe in the exotic fragrances of incense, candles, and essential oils. Adorn your body with jewelry encrusted with mystical gemstones from around the world. Why, many who enter the magical realm of the enchanted attic feel as though they have entered another dimension in time and space. But actually, in reality, they have just entered 304 South Main Street in historic St. Charles, home of the famous Enchanted Attic. This is Diane, and you need to come to the Enchanted Attic. It's mystical, magical, and a whole lot of fun. Open every day, free gift with purchase. You'll love this store.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure. One moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The near-perfect weather continues as our weather patterns from coast to coast stay in a logjam. Sunny and nice as we close out September. 72 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 60s this evening. 45 for the low. Saturday, October begins. Sunshine, 75. Saturday night, clear and 48. Sunday, sunny, 75 again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Guard is standing by. They do have high water vehicles. We haven't heard anything about any potential rescues going on right now.
More than 60,000 without power already, but forecasters are warning again of a life-threatening storm surge along the Carolina and Virginia coasts. Ian, a Category 1 hurricane right now, expected to make landfall between Charleston and Myrtle Beach after hitting southwest Florida as a Category 4 storm and pounding its way across the state. Fox's Phil Keating is in hard-hit Fort Myers Beach.
Search and rescue is the main objective right now for the second straight day. A lot of people didn't evacuate Fort Myers Beach proper. That was the case at Sanibel as well. Can't get in or out of Sanibel unless you've got a boat or a helicopter right now.
State officials have reported at least 21 deaths, but not a confirmed total from Ian. President Biden speaking to South Carolina's governor today and moments ago reassuring the people of Florida, again, the federal government will do all it can to help. A short-term spending bill passed by the House a short time ago to avoid a government shutdown includes another $19 billion for FEMA. Also, more than $12 billion in additional help for Ukraine as Russia claims to annex more of Ukraine.
This territory is and will remain Ukrainian.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the U.S. hitting hundreds more Russians and Russian businesses with new sanctions. America is listening to Fox News.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-857-5656. That's 800-857-5656.
On Wednesday, the Annie Frey Show teamed up with Princess Storm from Hot 104.1 live in St. Charles for a diaper drive, and you made it huge.
When costs are going up, it becomes harder to support what you need, and this is a basic necessity. And St. Louis, you guys have just shown up in a big, big way.
You exceeded expectations with over 35,000 diapers. That's about 6 pallets worth donated to the St. Louis Diaper Bank.
People are just happy to help. It's like they've been waiting for something like this.
It's all of us. 97.1 FM Talk.
At Neovitin, our goal is to create safe, dependable multivitamins to support your everyday nutrition when you need it most. That's why Dr. Ribicki formulated Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin with 20 daily ingredients, including B vitamins for energy support, vitamin C for immune support, and our 4-ingredient proprietary blend that you won't find in any other multivitamin. With a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality nutritional support with Neovitin. And as always, a portion of the proceeds from the sale of Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin are donated to the Ribicki Foundation to support pancreatic cancer research. That's nutritional support you can feel good about. Support your best life today with Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin, available at your local Dierbergs, Schnucks, select independent pharmacies, and online with our easy-to-use monthly subscription at neovitin.com. That's neovitin.com. neovitin.com.
Hi, George Weber. Check out my alter ego, Skip Weber, every Saturday night, 9 to 11, The Saturday Evening Rock Show, the greatest rock and roll show on a talk station in the world. Don't miss it.
Nobody wants to miss the important things in life, and if it's because of bad vision, you don't have to. Mark Cox here from my friends at Brenton Vision. They can help you out. That's why I want you to take 2 minutes today to call my friends at Brenton at 314-375-2020 or go online to brentonvision.com. Your eyes are as unique as your fingerprint. Since Brenton Vision is the only place in Missouri offering all 7 forms of modern vision correction, they can create a customized treatment plan just for your vision. They helped my wife out. She chose the lens replacement therapy and now sees better than ever, and she loves it. You can have that same experience with Brenton Vision. They accept flex plans and medical spending plans as well at Brenton. So don't let that money expire or go to waste. See your best. Do what we did. Call Brenton Vision at 314-375-2020 or schedule online right now at brentonvision.com.
Right now is the perfect time to call Zero Res to deep clean and refresh your carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and more. Call 314-474-2020. Get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. 474-2020.
With Odyssey music stations, there's a different station for every taste, and they're all free. Listen to 97.1 live on your phone or browse the selection of music stations and make a soundtrack to your workday. It's all at Odyssey.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. It's close to the weekend. You may be there already, so congratulations to you, whatever you may be doing. You can follow us online. The YouTube poll is up and running. Who's more awesome? You got to pick a team, pick a side. If you're on the YouTube and haven't voted yet, because it's too difficult to pick a side, just do it already. Don't hold back.
It's like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off. Just make a choice.
Yeah. And you're going to be publicly declaring who you love more, Annie Frey and Ryan Wiggins, or do you love Brad and Hannah more? Which one are you picking? It's like back in the early 90s when you were watching Saved by the Bell. You had to pick Team Slater or Team Zach. It was the hardest decision ever.
Which one were you, Ryan?
Team Zach. No, Team Slater. I'm going Team Slater.
I was Team Zach, and it was the blonde hair and the it was the blonde hair and the brick phone. Like Zach
was
Morris.
all it was. Zach was really not that great of a person when you look back as an adult.
Wasn't.
Right. You look at that and say, oh boy, I need to warn my kid to stay away from people like Zach Morris. Right. Because if you're growing a Screech, stay away from him at all costs. I don't care if he's popular. And then they tried to reboot the series and I started watching it and I couldn't get through it because it was too socially whenever you watch some of these streaming things, it's almost like they purposely try to inject as many social justice stuff as they possibly can. And it makes it less enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Totally ruins the show, ruins the nostalgia, everything.
It really does. And it's like that for Netflix now. In particular, I think they have a quota they have to hit if you're going to be producing a new show for Netflix or an old show and just want to continue on with it. They kind of force the hand to it. I wanted to bring up a moment from President Joe Biden from a few days ago. I almost brought this up on the show yesterday, and then I thought, no, maybe I don't bring it up. When I was living in Indiana, there was a congresswoman by the name of Jackie Walorski. She is someone that was in northern Indiana, the South Bend, Notre Dame area. She was the congresswoman for that area. And it was kind of adjacent to the Congress district where I lived. We had Marlon Stutzman, and then it's Jim Banks as the congressman in that area now. So when you're a news talk station, you talk about, the politics and different things that are going on in the region. And that certainly was part of the region. She was one of the regional Congress people, I should say. And she was a congresswoman for just, the kitty corner adjacent, or you say catty corner here in St. Louis, excuse me. We say kitty corner in other places, but it's catty corner here, I've learned. And she tragically died in a car accident about a month ago, real tragical. And what happened just a couple of days ago at the White House is that President Joe Biden stood in front of the audience and basically said, "Where's Jackie? Well, Jackie, is she here? Oh, I guess Jackie couldn't make it here tonight," or something along those lines. And it's like, okay, number one, she passed away. But number two, I was reading online that part of that same ceremony, they actually apparently made notice that not only she passed away, but they tried to honor her, a little moment of silence for her. And he was part of that. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, you got to be kidding me. And knowing that the people in the area enjoyed her and liked her, and for them to have to like look at that and say, man, this is one of the dumbest things you've said. Like, you're looking around the room for someone that passed away and you just had a memorial for her, like that you were present for. You got to be kidding me with all of this.
He even
and
spoke
it
to
made
her.
him look terrible.
Yeah, he even
What's
spoke
that?
to her husband. You know,
Is that right?
Yeah, he had a phone conversation with her husband. It's insane.
This
That's so bad.
just
It's bad.
This is really upsetting that he is the leader of our country. And I mean, you can't deny that he is out of it. There's no denying it.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Miller, I think, said it best. Let me play this.
That President Biden is not cognitively present. He does not have the mental capacity to serve as the president of the United States of America. If he was in a nursing home, he would be in the assisted living section.
Okay, so there's two sides to this. Okay, there's the Stephen Miller side, and then let me play the Whoopi Goldberg side. So let's do point counterpoint, and you tell me which one is more reasonable in this case. So let me play this. Okay, here's Whoopi Goldberg.
You know, my gosh, come on. You can't go after him for, not giving aid to Florida or not tackling the infrastructure. And he's giving aid to Ukraine. So you can't go after him for that. But you can go after him for forgetting that someone has passed. I mean, and she passed last month, not like 100 years ago. Yeah. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Which one's more reasonable? Okay, so let's look at both sides of this argument. You have Stephen Miller, who says this guy is not all there. If anything, he would be in the assisted living home. And then you have Whoopi Goldberg saying, guys, she died so long ago. It was a month. There's no anyone could have, forgotten that someone died, a dignitary.
You don't forget that people pass away. I've never forgotten that someone passes away.
Wow.
Well, just the thing about like Whoopi Goldberg, it kind of tells you, it gives you like an insight into the way that they think and what they think about people, because it almost seems like Whoopi Goldberg is like, listen, the person passed away a month ago. She wasn't that important. Why would Biden remember her?
I know. That's what it feels like. Like it's almost degrading Jackie Walorski, a congresswoman there. It's almost a little degrading. And for her to come out
so
and
embarrassing
say,
for our entire country.
It's bad. And this is just compiled on top of other moments. It's not like this is a singular event. And I'm not saying that it's worth jumping on someone's back every time they misspeak. I'm not saying that whatsoever. This is incredibly embarrassing, coupled on to every single moment he's on stage and he gets lost and doesn't know where to go or doesn't know what to say, or and it's not just one moment where he's like, oh, he messed up here. It's like every time now. It's all the time.
There's not a time where he's not making a mistake and embarrassing our country. Every time he goes to speak, he messes up.
That happens a lot. Almost, yeah. And it's not, I'm okay with stuttering. I'm okay with this other stuff because they've also tried to say, well, you're making fun of his stuttering disability. No, I'm not doing that whatsoever. What I'm telling you right now is like, it's at the point where he's saying things that he doesn't know what he's saying, number one. And sometimes they're embarrassing. Sometimes they're past the level of cringe, like him saying like, oh, I knew her since she was 12. Oh, we've known each other for, it's like real creepy stuff too. He's mentioning like things that are inappropriate. And then there's the pictures and the photographs and the videos of him touching, and smelling, and all these other weird, inappropriate things that just all create this profile that Whoopi Goldberg looks at and says, oh, you guys got to get over it. At least he gave aid to Ukraine. Okay. No, I'm sorry, Whoopi. You don't understand the magnitude. And I don't think you understand also that the people that have reservations where he's at right now are justified. They're justified observations with the problems that we're having with him in office right now. Again, it's part of a pattern you find. And the pattern is that they do everything they can to run defense for him. And they shouldn't be doing that. And I think that really shows to a lot of their own biases. And, there's some people that get it right. I mean, there's some people that have the right criticisms. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Bill Maher, who I don't always agree with, but I give him all the credit in the world for addressing some things and trying his best to look at things from both sides and not necessarily playing it down party lines when he thinks things are wrong. And he doesn't, people look at that and they say, you're not a liberal anymore, right? So they'll look at a Bill Maher who's always been liberal, and they'll look at him and say, well, you said something bad about Joe Biden, or you said something bad about fill in the blank, whatever the hot topic is, and then they'll kick him out of the party for it. And he's like, no, this is the problem that these agencies have, the Whoopi Goldbergs of the world, the Washington Post of the world, some of these big institutions or whatever have gone out and made it so you're not part of the party if you don't run defense for the administration. So Washington Post, by the way, I'll tell you this, the New York Post, they're pretty popular. I think they really had their most notoriety in the last couple of years. A lot of people looked at them as like a tabloid, I guess, the New York tabloid. But when they dropped the Hunter Biden story and they got banned online, and it turns out they were truthful all the way through. In fact, it ended up being accurate, and the persecution that news organization went through because of it, I think they got a lot of credibility for it. And they've been doing this, the headlines, I don't know exactly what you call it, Whoppers of the Week, I think they call it. So they go back and they look at some of the terrible takes and headlines from major news agencies over the past week. And I wanted to read this one from you, from the Washington Post, and get your reaction to it. I don't know if you guys have heard, because I know you guys follow the news, but I don't know if you know this, but inflation's pretty bad right now. Have you heard?
Really?
I've heard. Just
Washington
rumblings.
Post headline, 7 ways a recession could be good for you financially.
Oh, I hate this. Every time something terrible happens, it's like, let's spin it so that it's good. Here, let me lie to you so that, like, listen, you might be hurting and you might not be able to afford groceries, but this is actually really good for you.
It's pretty bad. And I think most people understand that the problem we're in today as a country is a complicated problem. And when they read a headline like that and they say, okay, is there anything you can do to try to sell me to the idea that a recession would be good for me? It would be good for my retirement. It would be good for my home. It would be good for my job. It would be good for fill in the blank. And I don't think any one person would buy that line. But here's the Washington Post trying to sell it. That's the thing that we're up against right now. This alternate reality that's been created, in the alternate reality is meant to flatter Joe Biden. And the Democrats have done this, I think, because they look at larger consequences. So they'll look at the Dobbs case with abortion in the Supreme Court, and they'll say, it's more important to us to try to get more Democrats in office to prevent things like this from happening than it is to tell the truth, or than it is to tell an honest account of what happened. And they look at it as their greater duty to their causes, that forget about people suffering right now. It's more important that we reverse the damaging Dobbs case from the Supreme Court when it comes to abortion. We can't allow this to happen. And they'll do everything they can to try to make the Joe Biden administration and the Democrats around him look good at the expense of people suffering all across the country. And that is a compromise that they've been okay with for a while. And I think really amplified itself during the Trump administration when they just hated him so much. It didn't matter anything they said or did as long as they got him out of office or made him look as bad as possible. And that's what we're up against right now. Why so many people have a distrust for media and distrust for the people that are on the television, like Whoopi Goldberg, who will go up there and say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Jackie Walorski died a month ago. Who could remember anything that happened a month ago? My goodness, that's a terrible way to look at a congresswoman's death and the tragedy that's around it and the surrounding how she died. And that's just one of the whoppers that the New York Post puts out there. I don't even have to read them all. That's what we're up against. All right, coming up after the break, there's a few things I want to get to, but Ed Sheeran is apparently going to have his day in court. There's a song that came out not quite 10 years ago that was extremely popular that they're saying was ripped off. Ooh. And the latest COVID shutdown, taking down small businesses in Portland. If it's not for the rioting, if it's not for the homeless, if it's not for the encampments, if it's not for the chop zones, whatever the Portland had, if it's not for the rioting, there's other reasons why businesses get shut down. And when you find out why this business was shut down, I don't think you'll feel too sympathetic. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Frey. You can join us online, the Andy Frey Show Facebook page. We got the live video going there. Go vote in the poll. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
My soul, sweet you rock and sweet you roll. Lost for
The
you.
Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Oh, when you come crash.
97.1, your continuing home of free speech in St. Louis.
It's free and fair.
97.1 FM Talk.
Keep it locked in right here.
The place for discussion. The place for ideas.
The fact that it's September now is kind of mind-blowing, but I want to put something in your thought process right now. Maybe a gift purchase that might be a few months away. Start thinking about that right now. I want you to visit my friends at the Diamond Shop. Easy to go to online at thediamondshop.net. You can quickly understand why in Clayton they've been here since 1910, why they are your friendly neighborhood experts when it comes to jewelry purchases in your future. This is what I'm talking about, folks. 6 months, same as cash. This is a great way to buy what you're looking for, to find that perfect piece, and to do it with people who are going to listen to you. They're going to listen to what you want. They're going to listen to your budget. And you are going to be able to make those payments over time so that you can get the thing that you are seeking out. My friends at the Diamond Shop have helped my family make those purchases, and it's been such a pleasure. I want you to look online also about becoming a VIP. Get special access to discounts and opportunities with the Diamond Shop. Visit them online to learn all about this and more at thediamondshop.net.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pineview Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED, but what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now. 314-530-7777.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Do you think Steve Miller from the Steve Miller Band ever ripped off another artist? I don't know. That guy is so good. Steve Miller is one of my favorite classic rock artists by far. I'd love to see him at some point. Is he still alive? I think he is.
No idea.
I can't remember if he's touring or not, but I missed the opportunity to see him one time, and I thought, that was one of those artists I wish I would have taken some time to see. Yeah, the Steve Miller Band is just like so good. And I was looking at some of the music news that's out there. Ed Sheeran must face trial in Thinking Out Loud in a copyright case. So there's a song from some years ago called Thinking Out Loud. Do you know the song? You guys familiar with it?
Yeah, it was very, very popular. Brad, you know it?
I would probably know it if I heard it, but I don't know it by title.
Okay, so it's one of those songs where if you're in the car alone and you hear it, you're like, wow, this is like, it gives you feelings, right? And you don't want to let the person next to you in the car or any other cars driving by know that you're listening to it because like it's too emotional. Right? And they're saying that he ripped off Marvin Gaye. Now, I've read different accounts of this, and they're saying that though this is going to see its day in court, odds are they're not going to succeed in saying that Ed Sheeran ripped off Marvin Gaye, which is Let's Get It On, a very popular song. You've heard that one at least, right? So let me play for you a couple of comparisons, and you tell me if you think one is a ripoff or not. And this is basically, you hear the Ed Sheeran, then it cuts directly into the Marvin Gaye part of it that is supposed to be like a direct comparison.
All right. Baby, my heart could still fall as hard at 23.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about how. And if you feel like I feel, baby, then come on. Oh, come on.
Okay. Do you hear the comparisons?
I do. I hear it. The beat goes straight into it. It flows straight into it. It's like almost like it was a remix. But even like the melody and the rhythm of the singing is very, very similar.
Right, isn't it? You don't hear it? Okay. Well, this is what you need to listen for. Listen to the beat of the song of Ed Sheeran and kind of get the feel of the flow. As in, okay, just here's the progression of the beats.
Okay.
And then listen to the progression of the beat of Marvin Gaye, and you tell me if they're similar. Here's another part of the song. You ready?
So, honey, now take me into your loving arms. Kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Nothing wrong with me loving you.
Okay. Did you hear it there?
I could hear it more in that than I did
just
the first
a little
one.
bit, right?
Yes.
Can you?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think about this till right now. Are we going to get kicked off of YouTube because I played too much of Ed Sheeran?
Oh,
Did that
no.
happen for
I
you
think
guys?
we'll be all right.
We
Okay,
get kicked
good.
off of everything for just being us. So
This is fair use because we're commenting on it.
Yeah.
Right, but YouTube algorithms don't know that. Now they're going to pick up on it and they'll say, oh, you're ripping them off. All right, do you hear it, though? I kind of hear it, but I don't think the suit is going to be successful because I think it's different enough.
I think it's really hard to do these sorts of suits because, like, music, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but I feel like music is a finite thing. There's only so many beats. There's only so many rhythms. And, like, you know, Ed Sheeran might have been inspired by that song and not even realize that he was drawn back on it. It's like, man, you know what would sound good here is if we did this and then we did this. Give me this beat with this hi-hat at this tempo, and I'll sing this song over, you know.
we have some reactions coming in from our YouTube live chat. Vicky Long says it sounds nothing like it to me. Libby says very similar, but not close enough to make a stink about it. Both amazing songs. Tanya from YouTube says not even close to the same.
Not even close. But I can kind of hear the progression in the way it brings up. And I do think that a judge, I'm a little bit leery to think why a judge would allow this to go forward. Maybe they just felt like it was necessary. There's been some famous musicians that have ripped other people off, I thought at least, and nothing came from it. There was that one instance where I was very disappointed. Joe Satriani is a guitarist. He did a song that was, again, he's just like a solo guitarist, and he puts out these albums where it's him playing guitar. And he did a song, and then later Coldplay did a song, to rule the world. I forgot what that song's called, Viva La something. But
Viva La Vida.
And it was almost a complete ripoff, I thought, of the Joe Satriani song. And that went to court, and Joe Satriani lost. And I was so distraught. I was like, how in the world could this happen? And that was so much more similar than the case between Ed Sheeran and Marvin Gaye here. And I thought, certainly this isn't going to succeed.
I've heard both of those songs, and never was I like, oh, they're the same.
Well, when you play them back to back, though, I can definitely hear it. I think they're very similar. I don't think that Ed Sheeran ripped them off.
Enough to go to court, though.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like St. Louis's own, I don't know if you remember this or not. Flame from St. Louis, he's a Christian rapper. He sued Katy Perry.
Katy Perry, yeah.
And won. And the Flame song was Joyful Noise, and Katy Perry's song was Dark Horse. And I remember listening to him, and I'm like, man, I don't know that those sound that similar, but Flame won. And I think that this one sounds more similar than that did. So
yeah,
so you have hope for this case.
Maybe.
Rolling Stones sued The Verve and won. The Bittersweet Symphony. It was like their one song. Fantastic 90s song. I mean, if you're walking down the street, just like the music video, tell me that's not like a perfect thing to listen to. Like, you feel like on top of the world. But they lost a lawsuit to the Rolling Stones. I think it was 19th Nervous Breakdown. So they basically look at the notes and say, okay, here's how it lays out. And if you overlap them, they're way too similar. And Rolling Stones successfully won that case. The other one that was really fascinating to me was the George Harrison case. When he broke off, and of course the Beatles broke off, George Harrison puts out his debut album, All Things Must Pass. It is, to me, a perfect album. It's one. If people say you're only allowed one album on a desert island, that's the one I would take, is the All Things Must Pass. And his biggest hit on that song was My Sweet Lord. Everyone knows that one. Dun, 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 dun. And as it turns out, there was a song well before that one that had almost exactly the same sound to it. And he ended up losing that. But the judge in George Harrison admitted that he's George Harrison. He doesn't need to rip anyone off. He inadvertently heard it and had no idea. It just like blanked out of his mind. So when he did the song, he didn't realize that someone else already did it. It's just something that completely blanked on him. So they basically said, okay, you're going to have to pay for this, but we're going to at least admit you didn't do it purposely. Because you're George Harrison, of all people. You know, you're part of the Beatles. You don't need to be ripping other people off. And plus, all the other songs on that album's a masterpiece anyway. Yeah.
Didn't Vanilla Ice get into some legal troubles, too, with Ice Ice Baby and Under Pressure?
Yeah. So Under Pressure in Ice Ice Baby are very similar.
Definitely sounds similar.
Do you ever hear Vanilla Ice's justification for it? So
no.
Under Pressure goes dun 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 dun, and then Vanilla Ice said, "No, mine's so much different. Mine goes dun 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 dun."
I remember hearing that.
So mine's completely different.
Good
It has
one.
the at the end. Yeah, that's another one.
Fan of the Annie Fry Show, Vanilla Ice. I don't know if you know this or not, but he follows the Annie Fry Show Twitter.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so awesome. Vanilla Ice was in the news for Missouri just a couple of, was it 1 month ago, 2 months ago?
Oh, I remember this.
He was performing at a county fair, and I think Mark McCloskey was like an unannounced guest. Like, he basically associated himself with this county fair, and he puts himself on the same billing as Vanilla Ice, and Vanilla's like, I'm not endorsing this. I have nothing to do with this. I'm just playing there. He's not on the marquee. You remember that?
I do.
That was kind of that was fun. I do like Vanilla Ice. You know, I watched a movie, and he was so good in what was on Netflix. It was the Adam Sandler movie, The Ridiculous Seven or something like that. It was basically the spoof on Westerns, and everyone hated the movie, and it wasn't a good comedy. But Vanilla Ice was in it, and he played Mark Twain, and it was the best performance of Mark Twain I have ever seen in my life. I wanted to give him so much credit. So if Vanilla Ice just so happens to say, I'm going to check in on the Annie Fry Show, and it just so happens we're talking about him today, I just want to say he deserved an Oscar for that performance for Mark Twain. It was so good. Let me give you a business that closed down in Portland, and you tell me if you guys are sympathetic for this business at all. Because in general, when COVID hit, it was bad for a lot of small businesses. And they struggled and they tried to stay afloat best they could. When you're in extremely liberal areas, when you're in California or anything really on the West Coast, Oregon included, and Portland is super liberal. They like to say, you know, we're so weird here. Like, oh, everything's so weird and we love everything and love everyone. Well, that's really not the case at all. They love the people on their side, I think. And in this case, she found a way to stay open during COVID up until now. Her business just couldn't survive. Her business is cuddling. About 8 years ago, she started a business where she was a cuddler for hire. I think she said $80 to $100 an hour.
You're kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
You're kidding.
Essentially, she had an office with a bed, and they decorated it like what looks like a teenage girl's bedroom.
That's disturbing.
No.
I'm guessing 99.9% of the clients were men, and they would show up, and then she would escort them into this room, onto the bed, and she would play the big spoon and just cuddle the guy for about an hour and then see you later. And she said she was making mad money doing this up until COVID, and then you're not allowed to have contact with people. She had to downgrade her studio because, well, there wasn't as many people coming in and she couldn't afford rent. And it's gotten to the point where she can't do this at all because people are just leery of getting close to a stranger anymore. Or maybe the person that she's getting close to gets COVID and then spreads it to someone else. So she had to shut her business down. Is that a little sad?
I mean, I feel bad for her. I mean, people were paying for it. I just think it's kind of weird that you would pay to have somebody cuddle with you.
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that this business got shut down. You know?
Well, okay, explain. Why is this a blessing?
I just... I can't get behind it. I would not be a part of that or want to be a part of anybody that is a part of that because that just seems odd.
Isn't $100 an hour appealing for anything? Like, that's a pretty good rate.
Well, like there's other things that people pay $100 an hour for that, you know, it isn't cuddling, and the cuddling is too close to other things. And like the weird part for me, like the part that made me go, okay, this is weird, is when they went into the room and it's like a teen girl's bedroom.
That's what really kind of threw me off. That's
oh boy. Let me just point out, it's I don't want to say this because it sounds too dirty, but there's a reason why she was the big spoon, because all the clientele. So that should also tell you that it's a little weird, right? The situation you're putting yourself into. Here's KGW Portland.
The business was doing good, and so was the extroverted Hess until 2020. In a job like this, it's hands-on.
Yeah.
Pandemic hits.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very hands-off.
Oh, it destroyed my world when the pandemic hit.
As a way to connect with her client, she created this virtual eye-gazing video. She did outdoor sessions seated apart, then limited indoor ones.
Okay, so she tried to branch off to eye-gazing sessions, which is direct eye contact for extended periods of time.
People pay for that?
Oh, yeah.
I avoid that at all costs.
Is it less creepy or just as creepy in a way?
I think cuddling takes the cake for most creepy.
Oh my gosh. There's like a whole cottage industry of this stuff.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I wanted to see what the lady looks like. And like, here's one called cuddlecomfort.com, professional cuddlers. And there's just pages.
Are there any St. Louis cuddlers?
Well, this is Portland.
Local?
I don't know. I will look.
Wow. She sounded, in that clip you just played, Ryan, she sounded very passionate about this.
It's not like a cult leader would stare at a camera for long periods of time and charge you for that, right? That's something they would do.
Wow.
Oh, there's more. Hold on.
She downsized from over 4,000 square feet of space to this office space that's barely just under 100 square feet.
This space is a 9 by 10 room.
And after more than 3,200 sessions ranging from 30 minutes to 5 hours and cost anywhere from $80 to $100 an hour,
my gosh.
She's packing up what's left in her tiny single-room office.
All right, so
5 hours?
Oh.
No. Oh my God. This is crazy.
There.
Oh my goodness.
And to answer your question, yes, there are St. Louis cuddling services.
How many are we talking?
Well, I see 2 on this page. So this is for Missouri. So there's some in Columbia, Kansas City, Independence, St. Louis, Springfield. 1, 2, 3, 4 St. Louis services.
Are all of them on the up and up, or is that just a front for something else?
It's really hard to tell by looking at the pictures.
Really? Are they dressed appropriately, or how are they dressed? In the
headshots.
Headshots.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like selfies on porches and stuff like that.
Like if you're cuddling, if you're paying someone to cuddle, don't you want to know what you're cuddling? Like, don't you need like a full body shot? If I'm paying $100 an hour, I kind of want to know what I'm touching, right? Like, because when it shows the video of her, they are fully engaged, like arms around each other. She's like playing with the webbing of his fingers. She's like, there's one where a guy's head is, completely planted into the top part of her chest. They are like close, like skin on skin contact.
Man.
Would this count as cheating, you think, if like a guy went to a cuddler?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so too.
If Mr. Wonderful went to a cuddle service, I would not be happy.
Well, let me ask you this, Hannah. If you found out that like Mr. Wonderful, like if you weren't dating him, but you found out he went to a cuddling service, would you have more or less respect for him?
Absolutely less respect.
Right.
That is especially, can we just talk about the timing? 30 minutes to 5 hours? Can you imagine someone touching you for 5 hours?
I had a really bad day and I need cuddles.
Oh.
Yeah. Or imagine you're in that waiting room and you have to look the other guy in the eye. Like, you were just with my cuddle mates and you know what was going on in there. And how do you like get the smell of other people off of you at some point? Like the people that work the fryer at McDonald's always go home smelling like the French fries. What do you think you smell like going home after cuddling a bunch of random guys?
Well, I'm not going to answer. I was going to say that. Yeah, nope, not going to do it. Going to exercise self-control.
Okay. Oh, there's more.
The comments coming in are great.
Oh yeah. Oh, these. Yeah, I got to read some of these.
This business really taught me so much. I'm gonna start crying now.
After years of listening to others,
witnessing kind of endless suffering and tragedy for 9 years takes its toll. I've really seen lifetimes worth of trauma and held space for people going through things I didn't even know were possible.
Samantha Hess says it's now time to listen to herself.
It sucks that I have to leave this.
All right, so now, okay, now do you feel bad? You can change your tune after she's like, these people have told me the worst terrible situations they've been in, and now she's crying after all of this. Now do you feel bad making fun of her?
No.
No,
sorry.
She was a cuddler, yeah.
I think if you just saw my facial reaction to that clip, you will understand how I feel. I think the woman who is owning this cuddle service must have thought of herself as more of a therapist or something. I mean, she really was this cuddle service for the clients or for her?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah. So she is not a trained therapist, I'm guessing, because they don't mention that at all. And I'm going to assume they would have mentioned if she had some sort of certification. She's not trained in any other way other than she could play with the webbing on people's hands and, you know, it's like knows where to put her arms when spooning. I mean, if that's a qualification, then sure, but no, not really. Yeah, so she makes it sound like she offered this sort of therapeutic medical service, and that's not the case at all. I'm guessing most of the guys that went there were not there for therapeutic reasons. Oh, boy. How weird do you feel calling that number? Like, if you're a guy and you're like, wow, this is interesting, don't you in the back of your mind think, this might be the FBI? Like, this might be the sheriff's department.
What are you thinking, like, this is my high school bully, I know it, they're setting me up, and they're recording this conversation.
They're recording this and going to put it on an elaborate prank. Well, then, how would you like to also be asked to do a testimonial? Saying, hey, I want to put your name and face on the website to show that you use this service.
No, thank you very much.
Wow. This is just not something I thought we would talk about today.
I heard that on Fridays you like to talk about this.
Yeah, we usually go off the rails, so this is pretty fitting.
So if you are in need of a professional cuddler, just know that there is one looking for a job in Portland, Oregon. You might be able to go out there and squeeze in one last session if you dare. Good luck. Why would you? This is just, okay, it's the Annie Frey Show. Hopefully I'm invited back sometime in the future. But man, I saw that story and I thought they're really laying it on to make it sound like we need to be sympathetic for this small business closing. Wow, COVID shut down another small business. Like, no, I'm not too sympathetic. It's a weird business, and I don't feel bad for it. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
To a great big hassle. Billy Joe shot a man while robbing his castle.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Carafano, Heritage Foundation scholar.
So we have this parroting back and forth that the new elected Prime Minister of Italy is somehow a fascist, which is completely not true.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Mandy Moore. We can do great things when we stand together. With support from American Airlines, Stand Up to Cancer is closer than ever before to achieving its mission to make every cancer patient into a long-term survivor. Through this incredible collaboration, we are pushing cancer research to new heights. Doctors and scientists team members, patients and their families all working and standing up to move progress forward. The fight against cancer never stops. Thankfully, new and promising treatments can help save lives now.
Flight attendants prepare for takeoff.
So get on board. Join this mission. To learn more about how you can support this groundbreaking effort and get Advantage miles, go to standuptocancer.org/American Airlines.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Fruits and vegetables are very environmentally friendly foods. Make them even more friendly by eating them in season. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Time to get ready for fall. Make sure your furnace is ready to safely heat your home when the first cold snap hits. For heating service, repairs, or a new HVAC system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
A cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio.
Oh, a song that mentions radio. I appreciate those. Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. Posted a new podcast with my wife. We have a book review podcast called The Hold List. You can find online. That'd be cool if you gave us a nice review. We're always looking for nice reviews because it does help other people discover it. So I thought I'd give a plug. The news that Hannah bought a new car is very exciting. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Was it expensive? Cars are expensive right now.
It was expensive, but it was needed. I've been saving up for years and years and years, and the right opportunity came about, so I went and I got it. I got the 2022 Jeep Compass.
Oh wow.
I love it, and it's everything I wanted, and I'm about to make my first car payment on it this weekend. So
okay.
Pray for my
Wait,
wallet.
already. Jeep Compass. Let me take a look. Wow, they look like the Grand Cherokees from 2000s right in there. They look sharp.
Yeah, they're
I
really,
love the
really
Jeeps.
nice. It has a ton of safety features on it, so that's great. My sister has a Compass. I think it's a 2019, and I've always been envious of her car. So I was like, well, you know what? I'll just buy one of my own.
Yeah. I've owned Jeeps before. I've owned a couple of different Jeeps. I'm a Jeep fan. I haven't owned one in a while, but my first car in college, well, I guess I had a car before then, but I didn't buy it. It's one my parents got me, the starter car, I guess. But the first car I really got that was mine was the Jeep, and I loved it to death. Someone rear-ended me, and I would have had that car today.
That's the
still.
worst.
I don't need that energy.
I know. Seriously. And I loved that Jeep. It was like you wake up in the morning and you talk to it. It was a 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And there's still so many of them on the road.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you what I appreciate, like those old Jeeps, easy to work on. I was someone that always will try to fix it myself if I could because I'm cheap.
And then bring it to Brad.
I'll do everything. Yeah. I'm going to do that. I think we've discussed that. But Jeeps were easy to work on, accessible. The parts were, at least the older ones were. I don't know if the newer ones are. So you got this brand new Jeep. Smells like a new Jeep?
Yes. And for those, I know my family is going to be texting me during this segment. I am very strict about no food in the car, no drinks in the car, no eating in the car, nothing. I'm going to try to extend the new car smell for as long as I can. So...
Oh, yeah. I can tell you don't have kids.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. My 9-year-old niece and nephew, they came in the car, and in the back of my mind, I was like, do they have Cheeto fingers right now?
Nope. It's all about the Cheerios. Let me tell you what happened. My daughter was in the back seat. She dropped her sippy cup and on the ground in between her toys or whatever that were on the floorboard because your feet can't reach it anyway. And so my wife tells me this. So I'm like, okay, I'll go clean it up. Of course, all it did was soak all the loose Cheerios that were down there. And it was it looked like grits. Just a bunch of loose, wet, mushy Cheerios.
Oh,
so Hannah, that'll never happen in your car, it sounds like.
Fake news. That's going to happen in Hannah's car.
Yep.
I'm hoping to have this car for a while. So one day that probably will
too.
happen.
Does it still have the same like Jeep feel when you brake? Like all Jeeps kind of have that little weird braking feel, I've noticed.
I don't really know.
Not compared to your old car, it doesn't stand out or anything.
No, it's very different than my old car. It just I'm different. It's I'm up higher, so that's different, and the hood is longer, so there's a ton of things that I have to get used to. I've gotten some feedback because a lot of people are saying like, the Jeep Wave thing, and if I'm allowed to participate in the Jeep Wave because I don't drive a traditional Jeep. What is that? Wrangler?
It's a Jeep, but it's not a Jeep.
Yes. So for those out there who have been asking me if I do the Jeep Wave, I do not currently do the Jeep Wave. But when I bought the car and I was signing the paperwork and everything, they like there is a thing that's actually the Jeep Wave Club. And I got 4 free oil changes for being in the Jeep Wave Club.
Well, there you go. Nice. Here's the thing. Here's my thoughts on that, Hannah. If somebody gives you the Jeep Wave, you are free to reciprocate.
But I just can't be the first one.
I guess. Well, you never know.
Let's practice it real quick on camera. Hannah, show me your best Jeep Wave.
I don't know. See, I failed.
That is not a Jeep Wave.
Okay, you used to drive a Jeep, so tell me how you do it.
You started with what looked like kind of like a limp wrist, and you just moved your arm and then put your hand up like you're a traffic cop or you're someone that's helping children cross the street.
Everybody's like, okay, yeah, you're definitely not in the Jeep Wave Club.
No, it's very. The Jeep Waves are just simple. Like you just quick little 2 fingers or something, one of those, or to the side, a couple 2 fingers to the side, one of those. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
boom.
there
Jeep
I
Wave.
So
that's all you need.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but I was the first car, like you said, the first car that you bought, Ryan, was a Jeep, and that was kind of the first one. But like my the first car that I bought was a Porsche. And it was, yeah, it was an 87 Porsche 924S. If you know, you know. So there's a bunch of people out there going, cool, you got a Porsche. And then there's a bunch of people going out there, oh, you bought a Porsche like that. So, like, yeah.
Okay.
So there's either people that think it's really cool, and then there's people who's like, that's not a real Porsche, which, like, to many people, a real Porsche is the 911 with the rear engine, air-cooled, all that other fun stuff. But, like, I remember I was driving that around, and then I didn't know it, but there is a club. So if you saw somebody else in a Porsche, they gave you the Porsche Wave. And it wasn't fancy like the Jeep.
I've never heard of that.
It's because it's very exclusive.
All right.
Not everybody.
What's the Wave?
Is there like a Honda Wave?
So you're just hands on the steering wheel, and then you just raise the hand up off the steering wheel and go, and then give them a little nod.
Okay, maybe what I was doing was the Chevy Wave because that's what I used to have. So
The
maybe,
Chevy Wave?
Yes. The flopped wrist and maybe that was the Chevy Wave that I was doing.
I love it. The Chevy Wave.
Like the Chevy Wave, I thought was a thumbs up, meaning you're trying to hitch a ride. 'cause it's on the side of the road.
I guess I can participate in Chevy jokes now that I don't drive one anymore.
So you felt like you couldn't make fun of it while you were an owner? Wait, do you still own it, or did you sell it? Or
No,
trade it in?
I do still own my car. We're getting ready to sell it, and I'm sad. That was my first car. It was a great car. Brought me from 16 to 21, and it's a really great car. So I'll be sad to sell it, but I need the money, so I won't be sad for long.
I'll tell you what I would love to find, and they're still so crazy expensive, all the used cars. I want to get right around that same era, 2000 Cherokee. The boxy Cherokees were like one of my favorite vehicles. I've never owned one because I had the Grand Cherokee, but the Cherokees were so much better. And those things last forever, that era that they were made, and they're so easy to work on. That's the type of car I want to find, and I'm in need to buy a car. And I've been holding off on buying and purchasing a car, and I don't know how much longer I can hold off, honestly. So if anyone has got a Cherokee they want to sell, reach out to me because I may be able to help you sell that. But that's the problem, too. You find a lot of these used vehicles, they're like, hey, you're almost paying sticker price for 60,000 miles or whatever they're on them, 100,000 miles on some of these.
That's why I just had to pull the trigger and buy a brand new one because I didn't see the purpose in buying one that had, 20, 30,000 miles on it that was like $5,000 cheaper than a brand new one. It didn't make sense to me.
Would you buy directly from not a dealer, but from the manufacturer and just wait a month for it to be delivered to you if you knew you're getting the best price? Could you do that?
Yeah.
Or do you have to buy it off the lot and feel the one you're going to buy?
No, I would have bought it from the factory.
I got to drive a car first.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
The car, not just any of that model, make, but it has to be the car.
The car.
Yeah, see, I don't have to. Guess I'm not that picky, but we're going to have one more hour of the Annie Frey Show coming up in a moment. If you want to reach us online, go to the Annie Frey Show Facebook page and watch the video. If you want to see Hannah do the wave, she may do that during the break. If you want to see what her Jeep wave is like, oh, that's good. Sideways, a little two-finger sideways. Whoop, just one of those peace signs work just fine. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloor.com has all of the top brands that you're looking for, but they also have the quality, the value that you're looking for, paired with the best in customer sales staff experts. Let's talk a little bit about the waterproof flooring. If you're looking for a wood look, but you need it to stand up to the circumstances that you got going on in your house, let's talk about Techwood Select and Plus. This is a great product, truly natural visuals, dimensional stability, long-lasting finishes. The Techwood Plus has a wider, longer plank to it. It's cleaner grades. You can get this at Michael's Flooring Outlet. We can talk about the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk Carpeting. If you're looking for the carpeting quality, they can help you with that silky softness, the superior performance that you're looking for, plus 3 times more individual fibers than ordinary nylon carpet. All of the top products with the best staff, the value, the quality that you're looking for, it's all at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They have 3 locations across St. Louis. You can find all those details online at igotfloor.com.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate. And George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. Ian makes landfall again on Lisa Brady. This time in Georgetown, South Carolina, between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. Top sustained winds 85 miles per hour, a Category 1 hurricane that's still full of water.
Officials warned of flash flooding from torrential rain. Rob Woods, director of South Carolina's Public Safety Department, says they've already received increased calls for service.
And those calls for service were primarily for assisting motorists and for trees and other objects in the roadway.
He asked people not to go out and not to drive if they don't have to. Emergency management says 5 shelters have been opened, including 2 in the Charleston area.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The storm surge also a concern for the Carolina and Virginia coasts before Ian dumps more heavy rain further inland. President Biden urging people to heed local warnings after speaking with the South Carolina governor.
And as you all know, the situation in Florida is far more devastating. We're just beginning to see the scale of that destruction.
Likely to rank, he says, among the worst in the nation's history.
And our hearts go out to all those folks whose lives have been absolutely devastated by this storm.
Search and rescue efforts continue in Florida. The president also just announcing the U.S. is sending divers to the Baltic Sea to help investigate what he calls a deliberate act of sabotage, causing leaks in Russian pipelines to Europe. Russia blames the West, which President Biden calls disinformation and lies. The U.S. is still flying in baby formula to help deal with a shortage, and now those brands might be here to stay.
Import regulations were eased in May, and tons of baby formula was flown in because of a shortage of domestic supply. The market's dominated by a few companies. Now the Food and Drug Administration plans to allow those foreign baby formula makers to keep selling here with a 3-year deadline to prove their products meet our federal nutrition, labeling, and manufacturing standards. The new rule allowing imports expires in January, after which companies can ask to stay on the market longer.
Fox's Chris Foster. America is listening to Fox News.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-857-5656. That's 800-857-5656.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The near-perfect weather continues as our weather patterns from coast to coast stay in a logjam. Sunny and nice as we close out September. 72 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 60s this evening. 45 for the low. Saturday, October begins. Sunshine, 75. Saturday night, clear and 48. Sunday, sunny, 75 again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Listen to Wiggins America.
Huge show this weekend. We're looking back at the year because Wiggins America's been on for over a year now at the best scripted comedic material that we've done, all packed into one show.
A place for the unexpected.
Plus, he is legend Richard Matheson. His daughter Allie joins me on Wiggins America to talk about the career of Richard Matheson, all the great Twilight Zone episodes that he wrote. We're talking about it Saturday morning from 6 to 8.
Wiggins America on 97.1 FM Talk.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town & Country, Missouri, 63017. CordellCordell.com.
Odyssey celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month and the trailblazers who made their mark worldwide. Born Andres Arturo Garcia Menendez, but you know him as actor Andy Garcia. Andy was only 5 years old when he fled to the United States with his family from Cuba. Andy Garcia's career took off after his role in 8 Million Ways to Die and The Godfather Part 3. Andy Garcia was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for his role in The Godfather Part 3. More on the Odyssey app, and celebrate the sounds and stories of Hispanic heritage at odyssey.com/HHM.
Fun in the sun is no fun at all without sunscreen. Just like reapplying sunscreen helps continue protection against the sun, a booster shot can help enhance protection against COVID-19 after a primary series vaccination. Schedule a booster appointment when eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Right now is the perfect time to call Zero Res to deep clean and refresh your carpets, air ducts, upholstery, and more. Call 314-474-2020. Get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. 474-2020.
The features you always dreamed of are here. We're talking about rewinding the radio. Listen on the Odyssey app and rewind whenever you'd like. Or catch up on entire shows within 24 hours of air.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
They got someone here knows what they're talking about.
Let's up, let's ride. Gotta love this American ride.
Like, you need to take some time to get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
That never gets old.
What did you just make me listen to? Was that Wiggins?
That is Ryan Wiggins doing our intro.
Oh, my goodness.
We do that every
you really want to
2
win that
p.m.
poll.
on a Friday. Yeah.
I mean, you really want to win that poll on YouTube right now. After listening to that, I don't know how anyone could vote for Annie Frey and Ryan Wiggins in the most awesome duo when they're up against you two.
Right.
Brad and Hannah. Seriously. Okay, welcome back. So thanks for joining in on the Annie Frey Show. That really took me off guard. It's the first time I've heard that, honestly.
Really?
That must be, I've just not, maybe I haven't filled in on a Friday before, so that's a new Friday thing, I guess? Or
yeah, we do it every Friday at 2 p.m.
We've been doing that since I've been here.
Yeah.
Since my first day, which was a year ago, well, almost a year and what?
Wow. I can see why
you're in a
people
month.
hate Wiggins now. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I think that for at least this last hour, we'll continue to have some fun, and I'll try to be less gross. It sounds like there were some gross things on there. Someone mentioned they still have a CJ5, an old Jeep 76, I think
Officer
it was.
Gary on the live chat said that.
Oh, so cool.
Did he say
Man,
he
those
still
were
has it?
awesome vehicles. He wanted, maybe I just misread it and I'm misremembering, but the CJ5, what a cool vehicle, honestly. What was the Toyota version of that? That was pretty popular.
Was that
there for a while.
the was it the FJ?
Toyota FJs are awesome too. I'd love one of those. You know what all-time Jeep I would want to own is the old Woody. Those things are the coolest SUVs. You know the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, the old with the wood panel on the side and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wood panel on the side. Coolest things. Super collectible. Like, they're so collectible. Good luck paying less than, $30,000 for one of those now anymore. All right. I'm Ryan Recker. You can find me online, ryanrecker.com. I have a website set up there. I was looking at YouTube, and there was a viral video that popped up that was pretty interesting. It was a cowboy. He was sitting there. Well, I don't know if he'd call himself a cowboy, but that's how I would describe him. He was in this rocking chair out in a barn. He was missing a finger, and he talked like a cowboy. And he was giving advice for young men, because there's a lot of advice given to people out there. And he's like, all right, boys, you got a lot of questions. And he's talking and giving advice. And I wanted to play for you his 5 rules for young men, and I want to see if you guys agree with them, okay? So here's the setup so you can kind of get a feel for him.
A lot of young men are realizing that they've been sold a bill of goods, and they haven't been prepared for life. And some not so young men are waking up too. I've been asked a number of times, what's some advice, I could give for young men?
Okay, you ready for this? He sounds like a cowboy right away, right?
Oh, yeah.
Without actually seeing him, you want to guess, does he have a mustache?
Big one, handlebar.
Of course. Of course. And with a voice like that, it's almost guaranteed you got a mustache. All right, so here's some of the rules for young men. Tell me if you agree with these. Here's the first one.
You need to work on being a good man. Now, before you throw your hands up, there are a lot of people out there that don't know what it means to be a good man. Listen to me. The absence of evil is not an automatic indication of the presence of good. All right? And we say, down here on the negatives, Dwayne, I don't do drugs, and I don't abuse women, and I don't steal from people, and I don't do this, and I don't do that. And so they do away with all the negatives, but they don't do anything positive. Congratulations. That person's a big zero.
Ooh, okay. Rule number 1. Try to be a good man, but just trying to cut the bad things out doesn't make you a good man. What do you think of that one?
I'm here for that.
I agree.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Great
yeah.
advice.
Yep.
Fantastic advice. I think a lot of times people are like, well, it could be worse. And that is a bad mindset to be in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it could be worse. I could be doing this. Oh, I could be doing that. And I think a lot of times people use that as a justification or a gauge in order to look at their current situation and say, well, I guess I'm okay where I'm at. But you don't have the positives. You don't have the good things you are doing in your life that actually let you live a good life, or things that you're working towards or achieving. And what are the offsets? What are the good things that you're doing? And some people don't have any. They keep looking at the opposite.
In 2022, in this, woke culture that we're in, I think this is like, people want to be celebrated for every single thing. They want the attention. They want to be in the spotlight. They want to be rewarded for just doing nothing, the bare minimum. So this first piece of advice, I totally agree with. You shouldn't be celebrated for being just a great person just because you're not, a criminal or addicted to meth or something.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is too, that carries with it this inherent idea that, hey, you need to, and you have a responsibility to leave the world a little bit better than where it was when you found it. You make the world better. That's why we are where we are, is because people before us made it better than where it was when we found it. And so I think that this advice about being a good man is very valuable, because there's a lot of men out there, young men, who are going into the world and they're just kind of wayward. They don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't know what being a man is all about. And you know, doing good things is a great place to start.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, one of the huge advantages of being married and having children is the whole point of being like a father, at least I think about myself, is that you want to make sure your kid's life is better than yours. And my parents, their main goal was to make sure my life was better than theirs. And generationally speaking, when you start doing that, it's exactly what you said. You want to make the world a better place. But, you know, for a parent, a lot of times it's like, you know, you start with your kids. You do that for your kids because that's the goal in life for you, to make things better for them. All right, here's rule number 2.
Second, be a dangerous man. Now, being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. All right. And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man. Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room. Fellas, if you are not willing and able to some degree to protect the family that you have started, you don't have a right to have a family. That's my opinion. That's Dwayneism. Okay.
All right. So that's this thing. You have to be dangerous, meaning like if that's in the example of a family, if you're dangerous, that means you're willing to put your life at stake to save and protect your family. That's part of being dangerous. What do you think of that?
I agree with that, and I loved his expression of Dwayneism.
Dwayneism.
So far, advice tip number 1 and 2, I agree with.
Yeah. You should be an absolute monster, and then you should learn to control that monster, because you know the monster is what helps you be that person that can defend your family. If you can't, like, if you're just soft and weak and not dangerous, there's no chance you stand in defending your family against anything. So go learn how to be dangerous and then control it. Being dangerous doesn't give you a license to use it however you want and willy-nilly and whatever. It's like the difference between a wild animal and a trained attack dog. You know, the trained the trained attack dog doesn't go until it's go time, and he minds his master. And it's the same way with a man being a man. Train yourself, be a dangerous man, but learn to control it.
You know, it's so funny because that's close to the exact example he gave there. He said, if you're on a farm, you got a dog that looks over the flock. It's not out there barking at every person that walks by because, you know, going back to his analogy of, you know, you don't want to be a muscle guy trying to show off all the time. He's like, you know, he's not a danger. This dog's not a danger to the flock. But if someone comes or an animal comes to threaten that flock, that's when he springs into action. He's a dangerous dog. That's what you want to be. I thought that was a great analogy. Basically what you were saying there. All right, that was tip number 2. Maybe we're helping some people here today. Clip number 3. This is what a cowboy says. Rules and advice for young men.
Be educated. Listen, you want to know how to be a man among men? You start following and reading and listening to guys like Jocko Willett, Jordan Peterson, these guys, and start learning. Start reading. And just the brain is a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it becomes.
All right, so that's clip number 3. That one may be one of the more controversial ones because he mentions Jordan Peterson, who's a controversial person to begin with. He primarily speaks to young men and gives similar advice to them as they're trying to, you know, navigate through a crazy world. What do you think of that advice?
I'm not familiar with the 2 people that he said that, you know, he wants people to be educated by, but I mean, I don't think it hurts to be educated. I just want to read a quick comment here from our YouTube live stream. Mm-hmm. This came in during tip number 2. John from YouTube says, no getting spooned by a servant.
Rules for young men.
If you missed that was 2 segments ago, Ryan Recker presented us a story about a cuddling service, and that just threw the whole crew off. So yes, John, that is a great comment.
Yeah, rules for young men. Do not pay a woman to spoon you. Yes, that should be right up there. Goes without saying. I guess if there was 6 rules, that one would be number 6. It might have missed the top 5.
I think Dwayne would agree on that one.
Yeah. I would love to hear Dwayne's comment on that. Oh, man. He seems like the type of guy I would want on for a weekly segment. the world of Dwayne would be real fascinating to learn from. All right, let's play, for the sake of time, number 4.
You need to just be calm. Just be calm. Well, Dwayne, how do I be calm? Get rid of the things that don't let you be calm. All right? If you come in and you watch the news every night and it just agitates you, turn the dang news off. They're lying to you anyhow.
I like that so much in his accent, the way he says it.
Turn the dang news off.
That's so perfect. Okay, that's rule number 4. Be calm. Eliminate the things that aggravate you. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think you need to really, like, I forget who said this. I think it was Dan Crenshaw. And the thing is calm breeds calm. So if you are calm in the situation, others are going to feed off of that calm, and there's not going to be panic, and there's going to be more calm. So there's a couple ways that you can be calm, and one is having confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence. So you get that whenever you understand that, first of all, that you're a good man, and you're a dangerous man who's under control, and you're also an educated man. That creates a calm man, because you don't ever feel like you're outside of your ability to handle a situation. And so you can be calm in a situation, and then that way, whenever everything goes crazy, goes sideways, you have that confidence to know that you can handle whatever situation is thrown at you.
I think I need to set that piece of advice. What was that, number 5? I think I need to set that as like my ringtone or alarm or something.
You just need, in that exact voice too, right?
Turn the dang news off. They're lying to you anyhow.
I love that. Such a great accent. Such a great advice. So that's number 4. Let's play the last one, number 5. I like to call him a cowboy. I think he would be.
Be wise. Now, wisdom, it's a lifetime of study, wisdom is. And wisdom's not what you know. Wisdom is knowing how to apply what you know. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is classified as a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. You don't have to open your mouth and dump out everything that's going on in your brain.
All right, that's number 5. Okay.
This is, Ryan, I don't know if you know this, but this is so up Brad's alley.
Oh,
like,
it's so much my thing.
I'm just looking at him and I'm like, I know you're eating this up. You love this guy. You love this advice.
I've heard this. I've heard that phrase, intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. That's something my pastor says. You know?
So you're right on board. So those are 5 rules, advice he would give to a young man who might be struggling or trying to find his way through this world. Overall, good advice, actually. The way he says it, great advice. How would you like to, go into your in-laws' place and that's your future father-in-law? That's going to be hard to live up to. This guy lives the farm life. Everything's perfect. They want the best for their kid. Oh boy, that's a lot to live up to.
And so that's going to be your in-laws. So you know that his daughter has that expectation of you as well.
Sure. And that's the thing, in the back of his mind, he's like, I need to make up more rules to shape my future son-in-law, and how would you like to not be one of those things?
That's the thing, right? So like you sit here, I'm just going to talking about the whole father-in-law thing. If you're a dad right now, you need to be the man that you want your daughter to marry, if that makes sense. And if you've got a son, you need to be the man that you want your son to grow up and be. If you're single and you're looking for the perfect woman, you need to be the kind of man that would attract your ideal woman.
And if you have an accent like that, even better.
It's a lot easier.
Because that really drives it home. So that video went viral. A lot of people like it.
Our listeners are going crazy. They're like, does this Dwayne guy have a Twitter handle? We love him. He's a man's man. They like Dwayne. So
okay, how about this? I'll look it up during the break, and when we get back, we'll tell you how to find him online. I didn't bookmark it. I watched the video, and I pulled the parts that I thought would be good for replay. So we'll do that right after the break. If you want to know more about Dwayne there, oh boy, you're going to hear it. Also, Rob Kramer with our digital Get Down is going to be joining us as we do on Fridays. Looking forward to that segment. And if you haven't voted in the YouTube poll, better go do it now and go vote for your favorite Annie Frey Show team tandem. I'm Ryan Recker filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
If you ever doubt
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. Text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Disaster Relief, which helps people affected by disasters such as Hurricane Ian. Message and data rates may apply, or go to 971talk.com for additional ways you can help.
Holy smokes, it's September, which means your furnace, that needs to be in good working order. That's why you need to know Air Comfort Service. I'm going to give you their phone number right now, and if you don't need to call them right this very minute, just put this number in your phone, save it as Air Comfort Service, and call them when the need arises. The maintenance that you might need to be done on your furnace, the tune-up that maybe hasn't been done for a while, get Air Comfort Service out right away to get that done so that you avoid any high-cost repairs. Here's the number that you can call, 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. Air Comfort Service is the best in the business. I have had them out to my house for a whole host of reasons: a replacement of a furnace, a replacement of an air conditioner, a replacement of a water heater, an aero-sealed duct sealing. They are always fair, they are honest, they are kind, and they are very good at what they do. You're going to be able to trust Air Comfort Service and their people when they are in your home, and that is priceless. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's hosting a new podcast? No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith. Listen as I pull back the curtain on everything beyond the world of sports, interviewing influential guests, outspoken celebrities, and thought leaders across the political, financial, and social spectrum. You know me, I'll give you my unbiased opinion. A No Mercy episode drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Diamonds Direct's unbelievable zero-interest finance offer is coming to a close, but you have until this Sunday to take advantage of 5 years zero-interest financing on any purchase. Now more than ever, it's the smartest way to buy. You can get that engagement ring or fabulous piece of designer jewelry and spread your payments over 5 years without paying a dime in interest. This amazing offer is good through this weekend only. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Get all the details, including special Sunday hours, at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit.
Standing up for what's right. Helping out when things go wrong. Seeking the truth and speaking our minds. Not just making records, but breaking them. Leading the way behind the camera, beyond the runway, and on the silver screen. Not just making our mark, but making a difference. Now that's a job for a Girl Scout. Girl Scouts, preparing girls for a lifetime of leadership.
This is the Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'll take you home if you don't leave me at the front door.
Welcome back. I'm looking online now because I found the guy online.
Oh, good.
It's Dry Creek Wrangler School, drycreekwranglers.com. They're in Tennessee. And I went to their website, got a Patreon page. Some people support them that way. It just kind of looks like a ranch. And I'm guessing at that ranch, he may try to give people life lessons, if I had to guess. But there it is, drycreekwranglers.com. The video is called Thoughts on Becoming a Proper Kind of Man. A proper kind of man. Sounds good. And wow, what a cowboy website. I think most people just want to see what he looks like, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
He's advertising leather products on his website.
I'm glad that
classes.
we found that.
Yeah. Is Rob going to be joining us? Oh, I think he's here.
Rob Kramer's here. How are you, Rob? I'm outstanding and still improving. Oh, hold on. Let me get your mic. Is it on? Oh,
it is on. There we go.
Now there you go.
Oh.
So how are you?
I'm outstanding and still improving.
Fantastic.
Are we ready?
Digital, get down. Hold up. Wait a minute. You can get this life too if you work hard and stop being bitter and busted.
I don't follow rules. I follow dogs on social media.
What's a get down versus a hoe down? Like, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
It's the music.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Okay.
a good question. Rack, how are you, buddy?
Good, Rob. What's new? What's on the digital docket today?
We got a lot going on in the cyberverse or the metaverse or whatever kind of verse we're in these days.
The multiverse.
The multiverse. Now, you're a big Twitter guy, Rack, and I guess, you know the segment. For better or for worse, Twitter is a cesspool. However, if you can curate your own feed essentially to, follow more reputable or, trustworthy individuals. And what I love about Twitter the most is how quickly it breaks news, right? So I think a lot of the major news outlets, broadcast television, the 2, 4s, and 5s and 30s of the world have really had to adapt to an internet age of news and information because by the time the 10 o'clock news rolls around, most of us have been updated with the news of the day.
They say the 10 o'clock news rolls around and it's old news already.
Right. Exactly right. So, yeah, there's a couple of directions we can go right away, Rack, but I'm going to let you determine. Do you want to go off the rails right away, or do you want to stick a little more neutral before we go off the rails?
Okay, how about this? Surprise me when we go off the rails. So don't tell me when it's about to happen, but when it's time, I want you to just go straight off-road.
Okay.
Twitter and news, you're so right about that. It's easy to come up with a couple of sentences to break a news story, but it's so much harder to present it online, on a broadcast. And I think that's one of the things that radio has a huge advantage of. If you can write the script, which is kind of like a tweet, but a longer version of it, then you can get that on the air as fast as you need to. You don't necessarily have to have another component to it to break that news. And I think people do hear about things before they see it on the news. Sometimes, though, I think the news television side does a much better job at packaging features together because they have a huge staff of people that specifically go out there to get video, tell a story, things like that. And they just have so many more resources, infinitely more resources, it seems like, to put things like that together. You almost like have to temper your expectations of different news media outlets to figure out what you're going to get from them. And, if they over-deliver, then you're surprised and pleasantly surprised.
You guys know this. Everybody in the room and on the show right now is a radio professional, and we get the idea that we know, not every single listener of ours is listening every single minute of every single hour, every single day of the week of our shows, right? So we sometimes and oftentimes will go through similar news stories, the top of the hour, multiple times a day, right?
Yep.
And you get some of your more dedicated listeners that are listening for hour, 2 hour, 3 hour stretches that say, I've heard this story already. I've heard this story already. And you say, well, yeah, but not everybody is able to listen as much as, you do. And we love that and love you for that, of course. But you have to kind of go through these stories often. And it's the same thing with television, broadcast TV news, right? It's sure a lot of us are on social media. We've already heard this. A lot of us have gotten our news from 97.1 driving home. But there are a number of people that's their first time kind of sitting down, unplugging for the day and really consuming, what happened, what's going on, what do I need to know for tomorrow morning's commute, the weather, etc.
Yep. And it's very jarring on television when there's a different type of day they're airing a story. So let's say they're doing a stand-up during the day and the clip they're playing is at night. So they'll go back to the night clip and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. How did it get dark all of a sudden? So it seems like for them, like at least for us in audio, it seems more timely. And for the television, man, they have to really be more conscious of things like that. You're right about reusing audio clips. And it's like in news, you almost trick the audience in a way when you read the news because you have to find new ways to present something you've already presented with no new additional information. And that new information might be we're learning more of or we haven't learned any more of. And that could just spin it enough for the hardcore listener to hear it and say, okay, that's a development from when I last heard it. So it is a little bit different, even if it's not. There's a lot of that goes on. You kind of have to try to freshen it up that way.
Exactly. And kind of spinning, that's a good segue is, kind of how you consume and watch sports these days, right? So did anybody get a chance to watch any of the Thursday night football game last night on Amazon?
I did not watch it, but I knew that it was on. I'm aware that Thursday night football's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime Video is how I that's my streaming service of choice because I already have Amazon Prime, so why not just use Amazon Prime Video?
Right.
But I'm still mad at the NFL, so.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, me too. I watched the injury clip on Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one was
that was
dicey.
Really bad.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's especially interesting that the NFL cares about head injuries and CTE and concussions, yet Tua Tagliavola, I'm mispronouncing his last name a little bit, but he had just, apparently sustained a concussion on Sunday. And now last night it looks like he sustained another concussion. And apparently I was following some independent neurologists on Twitter watching the game, and I knew about the CTE stuff. Of course, I've seen the movie Concussion. We all know about what's going on with concussions and head injuries. What I didn't know, and was especially troubling, was that apparently getting 2 concussions within a 5-day period is not only not great, but could lead to ultimately death. And so, we've had players die on the football field before, right? Not necessarily in the NFL in a live game, but it seems every year you hear a story out of a Florida or a Texas, heat exhaustion, stuff like that.
Let me tell you the first thing that came to mind when I saw that injury. So they first showed the injury that happened earlier, and we said on Sunday. So he takes a hit, he gets up, and then falls back down while he's trying to shake it off. He was wobbly and not good. You think that concussion protocol would keep him out, and they have those safeguards in place. But here he was playing again on Thursday. He takes this hit, and they do a zoom in of his helmet, and his fingers are crimped towards his helmet, and they're not moving. And the first thing I thought of was a story that happened here in St. Louis. One of the major hospitals turned away a person because they said they were having a heart attack, and the hospital said, no, you're fine, go home. And the wife was wheeling the person out. He said, it's happening again. And he started doing that exact same thing with his fingers. His wife described what he was doing, and he died in the parking lot of the hospital here in St. Louis. And he put his hands up, and he was doing the same thing that she was describing his last moments, dying in the hospital's parking lot. And I saw that yesterday. I saw the clip online of the football player with his fingers and moving his arms up like that. And I thought he could have very well have been dying as far as we know. That's how scary that situation looked.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think what's another really interesting thing, I was watching the game. The color commentator was Kirk Herbstreit. He's more known as a college football commentator. He was a quarterback at Ohio State. And then they had Al Michaels, who was doing the play-by-play. And granted, right, that we're watching the game from high-definition cameras that can zoom in. They're watching it from the nosebleed section in the press box. But right after the injury, they're both commenting, something's wrong with his fingers. He must have really injured his hands because they're looking all crimped, to Ryan's point.
Yeah.
No, guys, he didn't break or bend a finger. It's a neurological response to head trauma. And just, you hear the old white guy, commentary. Oh, this isn't just an old white guy. These two couldn't have sounded any more out of touch with the current state of injuries and head injuries in football. It's oh, look at his broken finger. Nah, dude, he just had a really bad concussion.
I look forward to the future lawsuit against the NFL with that one, because that could be almost a career-ending type of injury, and all the different doctor accounts of it. I definitely look forward to seeing how that one's resolved, because I think he's got a pretty strong case that he should not have been cleared to play. But who knows what happened behind the scenes to allow that to happen. Scary. Considering that we know more about head injuries, concussions, trauma today, that they go through pretty big lengths to try to protect the players. There had to have been some safeguards that were completely brushed off to the side to allow him to play again, knowing what we know, because I don't think he understood the risks. I don't know if he could have fully understood the risk that he was putting himself into, and that's one hit that could take him out for the rest of his career.
Well, and that's the way
they allowed him to play.
Yeah, and that's the way players are too. They're like, no, I can't miss this game. I got to push. I got to get back in. Especially if you're on a team. Well, he was Dolphins, right?
Right.
And you're on a team like that where, you might have a hungry young quarterback behind you, or you've got something to prove, or you're just that competitive. Athletes are always trying to play before they're ready to play whenever they're injured. And that's unfortunate, but it's part of their, competitive drive. And I wonder about lawsuits and stuff like that. It's well, how much of that is on him? How much of that is on the NFL? And how much of that is on the physicians that cleared him to play? Because there's no way the NFL legal team would let him out there if he wasn't cleared by physicians.
Yeah, it's, at the end of the day, I hear a lot of commentary from people that don't like the NFL or don't, like professional athletes or don't have any sympathy for them when they have problems, right? And I get that. And I'm not trying to make an argument saying we should feel badly for somebody that makes $250 million over the course of 5 years playing a child's sport. However, on the other side of the coin is, do you know the average lifespan? Real quick question, trivia for the room and trivia for listeners at home. What's the average lifespan for an NFL player? The average lifespan for an NFL player.
I'm going to say 54 years old.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good guess, actually. I'm going to take the over on that and say it's 61.
Anna?
I'm going to say 64.
The average lifespan for a man right now, a male, is 71 years old. The average lifespan for a female is 75 years old. The average lifespan for an NFL player is 59 years old.
Wow.
59.
Yeah.
So you guys were really close in your guesses. And that's just the
And
thing.
I don't know, because it could be a combination of things. Sure, your body is not meant to take that much abuse, but man, the stuff they put in their body too is the unknown factor. A lot of that is trying to stay competitive with their muscles and workout routine. It might not be the hit they took from a linebacker. It could be the hit they took from something else that wasn't legal. You don't know those things always.
Statistically speaking, they say an average lineman in the NFL, offense or defense, those are the guys, for those that aren't so football savvy, that are kind of colliding every play. They look like two lines, and they are. It is the equivalent of a minor car accident every time they connect with another opponent and kind of crash together.
Yeah, smash into one another. Hundreds of times a game.
Yeah, the average offense has 75 plays a game. So yeah, about 75 mini car crashes, once a week for 18 weeks in a row.
That's amazing. All right, let's take a quick break. Well, hey, it didn't go off the rails, so you can still surprise me after the break, because there is still time in the digital get down. Rob Kramer joining us here on the Annie Frey Show. Join us online. I think it's your last chance to vote on that YouTube poll, so you better go do that before it's too late. Hey, who's the more awesome tandem on the Annie Frey Show? So go vote for that now before we go and say goodbye for the day on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'll take you home if you don't leave me at the front door.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
Girl, we're getting so warm.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Get inside. Tonight you're falling in love. Let me go now. This feeling's tearing me up. Here we go.
The Mark Bearden Show.
Carafano, Heritage Foundation scholar.
So we have this parroting back and forth that the new elected Prime Minister of Italy is somehow a fascist, which is completely not true.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Need to lose weight? Well, Slim 180 can help you through that process. I want to make sure that you understand that myslim180.com is the destination on the internet for you to go learn about how I lost weight when I was recovering from having babies and also the extra COVID weight that I put on. I went to Slim 180 and they helped me. They used the HCG program with me and I was able to drop 22 pounds in less than a month. I want you to give them the opportunity to talk to you about the programs that they have. Nutritional guidance programs, the HCG program, with the best staff, the support staff that you need, the counseling that you need to walk you through these programs so you understand what's going on and you have the success that you're setting out to have. If you're looking to lose a little bit of weight or if you need to shed, over 100 pounds, do so with Slim 180. They can help you through this process with confidence. Don't put it off any longer. They have 6 locations around the St. Louis area, but you can find out all the details online, hours and programs and such at myslim180.com.
Mark Cox here. Prices on just about everything are still rising, but thanks to my friends at CarShield, I don't have to worry about how much it'll cost to fix my car when it breaks down. Their price will never go up, and they help handle everything. That's why I love CarShield. When I locked my keys in my car on vacation, CarShield was there for me because they offer roadside assistance with every protection plan at no extra cost. When my car radio started acting up, I got it replaced because CarShield covers those things under my protection plan. When you need a repair, you don't have to deal with the paperwork or the headaches. You just choose the mechanic to do the work, and CarShield administrators handle the rest. CarShield has my back when my car breaks down. They can have yours too. Get coverage like I did. Go to carshield.com/Cox or call 800-391-8888 to save 10% on your plan. That's carshield.com/Cox.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
We are all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. September is World Ozone Month, so it's a great month to get rid of all your aerosol sprays and harsh cleaning products. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orris and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your HVAC system ready for fall with a heating system check included with all maintenance plans starting at $15 a month. For details and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Back in the car and back on the road. We're with you. Dependable traffic with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
All right, one more segment of the Annie Frey Show. Is it too late to vote on the YouTube poll, or can you still get that vote in there to vote for your favorite Annie Frey Show tandem?
It is not too late. I'll read the results in about 5 minutes, and I'll read some of my favorite comments as well.
All right, so I think we should ask Rob the question.
I was going to just say that.
So the YouTube poll question of the day is, who is more awesome? Is it Annie and Ryan Wiggins or Brad and Hannah?
Wow. That's a question, huh?
On air.
I am in control of your mic. Just remember that.
That is a question, and you have asked it. I'm going to say Brad and Hannah are the most awesome.
Awesome. Checks in the mail.
Okay, and you have in your reasoning?
Because Ryan and Rob was not an option.
Ooh, so you throw in a third party that could throw the results off, like the Clinton-Bush presidency debates back in the early 90s. So what's going on in the digital world, Rob Kramer? I love this segment, the Digital Get Down. These are great discussions.
Yeah,
I love it.
A little more serious in the first segment than typical, so I a little reserved today, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you look a little relaxed right now, just sitting there with your feet propped up and
you weren't supposed to say
lounging.
That. This is theater of mind. People should think I'm standing up with my back straight and shoulders.
We're on YouTube. They can see.
Oh, no. Shoot. I chose not to.
The desk. You know, I once posted a photo of Sue Thomas with her feet up on the desk, and she's like, take that down right now. No one needs to know I have my feet up on the desk. So I can get that. You don't want people to know you're enjoying yourself at, the relaxation side of work on a Friday. They want to think that you're working every hour, every minute in the office, no slacking whatsoever.
I'm more concerned that the big boss, Steve, will be listening. And
he did just text me.
Did he?
Yep.
He said, tell Rob to get his feet off the desk.
Tell him, and I want you to audio, go to your text messages, Hannah, pull out the voice recorder part that you can send an audio message.
All right.
And I want you to put in parentheses, Charlton Heston impression, and say, Rob says to pry his feet off the desk out of his cold, dying hands.
Love it.
That's great.
Love it.
Come get me, Steve.
You really want to know what the big boss Steve said? He wanted to know Dwayne's information that we just had on the last segment, or 2 segments ago. Dwayne the Cowboy's advice to young men.
Yeah, it was great. Well worth looking up. The Wranglers out of Middle Tennessee, worth looking that up there. So we didn't go off the rails in the first segment. I was looking forward to that.
Uh-oh, I'm nervous for now.
There's still an opportunity. During the break, Brad was on the Twitter machine and said, whoa, why is St. Louis trending?
Yes, why is St. Louis trending?
Well, and I'm not exactly sure. There's probably a number of reasons. Obviously, this weekend is the final homestand for your St. Louis Birds on the Bat. of the regular season.
Right, and it's the last ride of Albert and Yachty for sure, and possibly Adam Wainwright.
Possibly Adam Wainwright as well. Crazy, Adam Wainwright facing dead arm for the first time in his career in this month of September.
Now of all times.
Of all times, yeah. So there's a lot of people downtown for that. I was at the Ritz-Carlton for lunch. It was the Growing Global luncheon. First time back in person after a 2-year virtual events with COVID. And there they were talking about, so those that are not familiar, Growing Global in a very simplistic way is about connecting St. Louis with international business leaders and promoting St. Louis as a place to bridge more international business relationships. So we have a lot going on with the NGA geospatial space in North City. Got a lot with Boeing, obviously, going on.
Right.
Bayer, Crop Sciences, based in here and whatnot. At that luncheon, they announced that in part of the reason that we have, or because of our direct flight now from St. Louis to Frankfurt, Germany, they announced that, I don't know that they were supposed to, but they did. So I'm breaking it for you guys, that the German football club Bayer Leverkusen, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but close enough, they are set to play St. Louis City SC here in St. Louis in November.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I don't think it's been officially announced yet. So you know what, guys? Give ourselves a round of applause. We're breaking news today here on the Annie Frey Show.
Now, I'm going to throw this out there knowing that there's a 98% chance I'm wrong on this. So the coach that was hired in, was he from that club in Germany?
Is there
a connection?
I'm not sure exactly. I can look that up. I think the connection beyond that is the fact that I believe the fact that Bayer's in the name means that they own the club, and obviously Bayer having their U.S. headquarters here is probably an easier association. But I'm going to do a little bit of research, Rec, and get back to you on that.
98% chance that's wrong, but I thought maybe that was a connection.
Just throw it out there anyway.
Let me Jen Psaki, and I'll circle back. I'll circle back on that.
Yeah, they got like, what, 3 players signed or something? Do they have any more? Because they're still trying to even build a roster. We don't know what that's going to look like yet.
And I think what I was reading on the Twitter machine today after that kind of announcement was broke in the Twitter sphere was that apparently there's an international draft in early November, and so that this game would likely be towards the end of November to allow for the full team to be solidified, a couple practices, and then get an international friendly in. But that should be great for the St. Louis
that's exciting.
Area. All right, I guess it's time for me to give you guys the results of the YouTube poll today. Once again, the question is, who is more awesome, Annie and Ryan, or
Wiggins.
myself and Brad? Yes. Ryan Recker wants to emphasize the Wiggins with Ryan. All right, with over 100 votes. 55,
wow, we got 100 votes.
Yes, over 100 votes. 55% of the people said that, okay, maybe we shouldn't read these results anymore. 55% of the people said Annie and Ryan are more awesome than myself and Brad. Wow.
So what you're saying is 55% of the people would rather be wrong and with the group than correct.
Yeah, what you're up against is the namesake of the show. That is a tough thing to break. Yeah. But I remember Ryan Wiggins telling me he has a large extended family that likes to vote in those YouTube polls. Do you think that could have possibly swung it one way or the other?
He openly has a lot of bots.
Yeah, I was going to say, by large extended family, do you mean multiple Gmail accounts?
Yeah, he's got like, what, 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10? It could be the thing. Who's to say there wasn't voter fraud in this YouTube poll?
I just got a comment from HDG that says, I love everyone on this show, but my favorite is definitely Ryan.
Wiggins, I know. He's good. Okay, that sounds like something Ryan Wiggins would say.
I know. That's why I'm a little suspicious
and I've
here.
never seen this account online before.
Neither have I. They've never commented on our page before. Jeff from YouTube says, I voted Hannah and Brad. 1, because I love how Hannah reps the young generation and is into what's going on in the country, and Brad because he's dressed better than Wiggins. Thank you, Jeff. John from YouTube says, I'm recusing myself on this poll. You are all awesome and equally important to the efficient function of the show. A lot of people said that they wouldn't vote in today's poll or that they wanted an all of above for the question. But if you guys aren't familiar with our Friday YouTube poll questions, we always do a poll that relates to the show crew members. And, we all love one another and we love the competition. So feel free to vote whenever. So You know what?
So what does that mean?
It's
You
fine.
give them a trophy now? Is that how this works?
No,
No.
just bragging rights.
As a matter of fact, they
For
don't
the
even
week.
need to know the results of this poll at all.
Yeah, maybe we don't even need to tell them that we
we'll
did the poll.
Go back and delete this YouTube video, and nobody will ever know that it was there.
Bum, bum,
I gotta
bum.
say, I'm a little disappointed because you had all of this opportunity to pander to the audience to really get those votes, and you still lost.
I'm not a panderer.
What happened?
Not a panderer.
Can't do it.
You know, maybe
You think it was the
we
cuddling
should break
segment?
early.
There was a
Yeah.
section of cuddlers that were disappointed in what was said here.
Rob, would you pay $100 an hour for a cuddling session with somebody?
Now I remember that when this was really popularized, like even
This was
longer.
popularized?
Oh yeah, this is not new. Yeah, I didn't listen to the segment, but let me see if I understand it. There's a service out there where you can pay somebody to come cuddle you, or for you to be able to cuddle them for like an hour, right?
Right.
Well, this one was in a studio, and you could. It was what was it?
It was a female that was always the big spoon, and the studio was decorated like a teenage girl's room.
Yeah,
And
that's what it looked like. Yeah.
you could go 30 minutes up to 5 hours of cuddling.
Yeah. Yep. And you pay her for the service.
Yeah,
correct?
a good amount of money per hour.
Yep. Not new. But I don't know that I would pay for those kind of services necessarily, but to each their own, right? There's money
Like, what
to
do
be
you do
made.
at 5 hours? Are you like watching the Godfather trilogy? Like, what are you doing during that time? Is there a TV on in the background?
I'm not sure.
All right. As we're kind of getting towards the end here, I want to bring up this quick question because this was just flabbergasting to me. Fans of the show know that I am not a native St. Louisan, though I've been here 8 years now and call St. Louis my home. And I found a local, married her dog, house, all that old jazz.
You married her dog?
That old chestnut.
Yep.
I married her dog
That's
and
what I
I
heard.
left her go. So, man's best friend. And I didn't know that, though, is it the U.S. or the World Chess headquarters are here in St. Louis?
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that originally.
Oh, wow.
And
I
sorry,
didn't.
I'm sorry, I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
you are a nerd. Did you hear about the cheating scandal that's rocking the chess
What?
world?
No.
So there was a tournament in St. Louis, the Sinkfield Cup, a couple weeks ago, and the world's #1 chess player resigned after getting beat in a match because, and the speculation is out there, that there's cheating happening in the world of chess using electronic stimulation through anal beads during live
There it
chess
is.
matches.
All right.
I'm glad the music's playing.
There's
That is
the
a real
real.
speculation in the top of the world of chess and international chess.
So many questions. I don't know
Cheating
how
with anal
My
beads.
goodness. That is... You think of chess as a nerdy thing. Now I don't even know what to think about it anymore.
That's
after
a Friday
hearing
show
that.
for you guys.
Yep. Mark Reardon Show coming in next. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Ryan Recker. Got a website now, ryanrecker.com, if you want to look up and find some of the things I'm doing on there. You guys have a great weekend. I think Annie will be back on Monday, and she'll collect her trophy then. We'll see you. Have a good weekend.
Let's talk real estate. The St. Louis market is tricky for home sellers with home values going down and not selling as fast, right? Now is not the time to risk losing precious equity on your home. Hey, it's Mark Cox. That's why I always recommend you call Gloria Lou.